Wild Twin and Grooming Company. They sent us a little package. Appreciate it. If you go to their website, link in the description, and use promo code Legendary, you get a discount on all their products if you'd like to try them with me. Again, when you have a giant beard, all these products are pretty important to keep it smelling good and clean and all that, and I think that's just what these are. We got some beard oil right here. Nice. Some of that beard oil. I appreciate it, guys. Ooh, that's a good smell too. That one right there smells pretty great. They gave me a bunch of stickers and stuff. I appreciate you guys. I'll put it on something cool. A little handwritten note. I hope you enjoy, brother. Appreciate that, obviously. Two scents we have here. Without even opening them. Yeah, it's like a soap, like a clean, like soap smell. Like if you like that fresh smell on your beard. And then it's this one right here. Ooh, that one's good too. That one just smells good. So, Wild Twin Grooming Company, promo code Legendary. Try it yourself. I mean, don't take my word. Just try it yourself, and that's the only way you're gonna find out if it's awesome or not. So, thank you. Yo.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? How you doing?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, man. We're doing decent, man. I'm trying to figure out how the internet works.
Yeah, it's a complicated bitch, the internet.
Yeah, I feel like a geezer right now trying to figure it all out. We already have people watching. How you guys doing? Thanks for watching. We have a big episode today. A couple things. We have a producer now. He doesn't want to be on screen right now, though, so you just have to take our word for it. But we have he does. Okay, Cody's producing the show now. We got so Sean and I talking about ourselves nonstop and promoting things. We have a producer to put it all together for us, and so that's cool. And then also in crazy news, we have a huge guest. That's probably why you're here. They haven't done shows in about 10 years, so this is kind of crazy. Like, they have a new album coming out in September. It's a band named Taproot, and we have the bass player Phil with us. How you doing, brother?
There I am. Hey guys.
What's up, brother?
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm good. Had to get a refill of my milk.
It's a necessity.
Yeah, dude, we're ramping the machine back up. It's been dormant for apparently far too long. People have been eagerly awaiting, and we had no idea.
No, it's crazy because we had you on a couple weeks ago.
It seems like since.
Oh, good. Sorry. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, well, I was just gonna say, I think the same thing you were about to say, which is, we had you on a little while back, and I think you only had like one show scheduled at that time, and we were having audio issues at that time too. So we figured it'd be great to have you back on and be able to actually hear you, and you guys have like so much other shit you've announced since then too. So, good
right.
Talk about it all.
Yeah, it is funny thinking about that last time I was on, because we only had the one show, and my plan was, and that's not till September, right? We're going to play the one show in September, and then see how we feel afterwards, and maybe do something else, right? Like, we'll just see how we feel. And then I talked to our mutual friend Tom Hazart. He asked me if I wanted to do some skateboards, like some Taproot skateboards, because he was working for a skateboard company. He had quit the music industry. I'd essentially quit the music industry. I told Steve to get a new bass player many a times. and then when we had the one show, I was like, okay, one show, whatever. And through talking to Tom, he was like, he showed me the skateboards. We worked on a couple of those, and he was like, well, we also do merch. And I'm like, what do I have to do? He's like, nothing. And I'm like, perfect. Like nothing. Me having to do nothing for merch is perfect. So
so they're printing, shipping, everything, right?
Yeah, they do everything. They even, we've talked about designs, but essentially he's designing everything, and I just go, yeah, that looks great, good job.
You just approve.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, even kind of. My mom's like, yeah, good enough. You know, cool. That's good. No, he does good stuff anyway. And then we were talking about, you know, music and what we were doing with it. And I'm like, well, Steve's working on a record. And then all of a sudden he happened to watch Steve on one of his Instagram lives. And Steve had said he's probably going to release it soon, maybe on Facebook or something. And Tom was like, called me. He's like, dude, we cannot let Steve just release this thing on his own. Like way he's going to do it, there's no way.
Right.
We got to shop this thing around. We got to do something with this. And I'm like, all right, what do you want to do? He's like, well, you know, I used to do labels and all that. And I'm like, if you're interested, man, we can make something work, and you feel you can do something with it. And he was, you know, we talked a lot about it and talked to Steve. We got on, you know, one of these StreamYards with Steve and just talked about it. And Steve was down to do whatever because he didn't really have any, you know, real plan per se. Yeah.
Right.
And Tom had all the plans. I mean, Tom's been in this industry, as you know, for like, you know, longer than we have.
Dude, I remember when I was growing up in Hollywood as a teenager, going to shows on the Sunset Strip or like at the Palladium or whatever in LA. I mean, he was running Golden Voice Promotions back then, which was like the big promotional company putting on all the best rock shows. And I mean, that was when I was like 15 or something like that.
Right.
And I'm 41 now. So yeah, he's been in the industry a long ass time.
Exactly. And everybody knows him. He knows everybody. You know, but he had kind of quit the music industry, and, you know, Taproot brought him and me back into it. And now we're full bore. We got, you know, so yeah, after talking to him, all of a sudden we've got he's like, we got to do a release date. We're going to do it this year. When we're going to do it, when we just kind of figured it out. And we planned for a September release. And then we talked to the machine shop to see when they were open for some shows. And, you know, I messaged Kevin and said, hey, dude, you know, we're looking to do an album release party. Let's plan for a Friday. If and when it sells out, we'll add a Saturday. And he was obviously all about it. He asked me what ticket prices were. I told him what ticket prices were. Like what I want, because I never want to go crazy. Like, oh, $50 a ticket, whatever, you know. So we kept it reasonable. I looked what other people were charging, and $25 a ticket. And they went on sale, and we sold out the first night in like 30 minutes, and sold out the second night in another 30 minutes. And it was like, oh wow. People are actually really, really interested in us still, you know, and after being off the scene for so long, we just weren't sure what it was going to be like, you know.
Absolutely.
And so it's really, I mean, it feels really good to know our fans are out. We knew our fans were out there. We like you, we have our fans that we always, that always comment, we always see, you know what I mean? And they, you know, they'll always be there. Right. So we're not sure how big that fan base is. But then, this has been overwhelming and amazing. And, you know, even Steve's excited, and it's hard to get Steve excited.
Right.
So it's really cool. We got our original drummer, Jared, back in the mix. We got Taylor Roberts on guitar, who we're all been friends with for years. You know, guitar player's got his own band, Riding with Killers. He sings and plays guitar in that band. He'll be cool. I think he'll be doing harmonies with Jared and Steve when we're playing live.
Three-parters.
Yeah, I think so. We're gonna try for it, man. We're gonna try for it.
Cool. You guys, I mean, your music is, you know, so loaded with harmonies. It'd really be a cool thing to pull all that off live if possible.
Yeah, that's what we're hoping for, man. And I mean, it's probably the best version of Taproot. We, you know, like as far as being able to pull it off live and do some of that stuff that we, you know, kind of were lacking before. Because I can't sing, I can't do harmonies. You know, Mike couldn't do harmonies, and Jared, you know, Jared could, but you know, Jared, you know, thanks to family and all that stuff, he hasn't been in the band since 2007, 2008. You know,
right.
So for him to come back, and you know, it's just weekend stuff. It's no big tours. I don't have time. I've got a real job. We've all got jobs. We've all got lives. We've all got kids. So being able to do this stuff and just do weekend warrior stuff, and you know, just, you know, we're trying to hit all the places we can. So it's cool. Yeah, album release. You know, September 29th, new album Scissors comes out. We're releasing a song. We released our first song on April 1st. That was Steve's little inside joke. He likes to do things like that. And I mean, I was worried because, you know, I mean, as you know, anytime you put out new music, it's like, what are people going to say?
Yeah.
You know, and for us, it's been forever. I mean, our last album was 2012. So we're 11 years from our last album, and what are people going to think of the new music, and especially when you only get one song, what's this one song gonna, and the response was amazing. Awesome. No negativity. I'm shocked. I don't think even in our prime, like we've never had no negativity for any release.
Yeah, negativity is just like a given when you do this for a living. I mean, you put your shit out there for the world to look at, and you can guarantee there's going to be a couple of people that are just like, "Fuck you, you're awful, you suck." And, you just learn to expect it. So if you get none of that, that's always.
I literally have not seen. I'm not on social media as much as I used to be and stuff, but still, I'm curious. What are people thinking of it? Not a single bad word about it yet. And I'm sure that won't last, but it's neat to see. It's a much more positive vibe right now in the music industry or something. I think I kind of attribute it. I don't know how you feel about it. You've been in it long, kind of this whole time, but the whole COVID and having to sit at home and not see, where there was a potential for, wow, I can't see concerts anymore.
Right.
I think kind of changed people's perspectives on what concerts are for us. They're not just a luxury; they're a necessity. It's
right.
seeing live music. It's not the same watching it on your on your phone or your TV or whatever. It's just not the same, man. I mean,
dude, so many people during that time period were doing those live streams, and I mean, and we had a bunch of people, writing me and saying, "Hey, you guys should do one of these," and I'm just like, "Fucking why?" Like,
dude,
watch a YouTube video of us playing a show somewhere. It's not like you can recreate that kick drum thumping your chest cavity. You know what I mean? It's like there's no recreating that. So why even try?
Yeah, and being around the people. The energy of the people around you when they're playing your favorite song and you're singing together and you have that energy. And you're trying to, like just the whole thing is just, we love live music. And, I think for a while there, we were kind of taking it for granted because it was just so easy to see it.
Agreed.
And then when it disappeared, like really disappeared, it's like, oh, like.
It's like the difference of when you play like, New York City as opposed to some like C market in Kentucky,
Yep.
The New York City people are like, every fucking band in the world is coming every night here.
Yeah.
So I don't even care. I don't even want to be here, or at least I'm going to act like I don't want to be here. And then you go play the C market in Kentucky, and everyone's just amped and excited and appreciative. I think you're right. There's an element of that time period reminded people that, this is something that they need. It's important, and there is an enthusiasm. I feel like, post
the luster's been brought back to live shows.
Right.
A little bit. Yeah.
That was a hard time not being able to go out and see music live. Like you were saying, and feel it. That was tough.
Yeah.
And I had kids during all that time. So I'm still not getting to all the shows that I want to go. And
you're not doing shit.
But
you're both like, exactly. Oh yeah. Kids take priority for sure. But yeah, when you can go out,
they'll be old enough soon,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it goes by quick.
Going on in St. Louis, so
yeah, you guys have lots of,
they're little, and then they're like talking back to you.
Soon enough, man. Soon enough.
That's true. That's awesome, man. So,
no, I had to comment on the live shows.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we'll be out there.
I know we're excited to be doing a couple of shows with you guys in October.
Yeah.
And then I think we're doing a festival with you before that, right? In August.
Are you guys on that? Are you guys on that?
Yeah, the Northwoods Rock Rally.
Yeah. Same day or no?
That I don't know.
Do you know what day you're doing it?
No, I never know shit.
We're Saturday.
You're Saturday?
Yeah.
I'll have to ask, find out.
You should probably find that out.
I hope we're on that day, because that would be cool. But
yeah, it was one of those posters that had too many bands, like all the band, so many bands. Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't notice. Like I know like Pop Evil's the other, like we're headlining one night, Pop Evil's headlining the other night.
Yep.
So
yeah. We played that fest last year too, and It's crazy. It's like way up in the
yeah, it's up there
corner of Wisconsin there, and you got to drive off the beaten path for a few hours to get.
It looks like it, yeah.
But it was actually impressive for, you know, how some of those smaller festivals can kind of let you down.
Right.
This one was fun, and they did a good job with it, and you know, it was good crowds and the whole thing. So I'm looking forward to it again. Better lineup this year too. So
yeah, it looks pretty solid, man.
Yeah. And then we're supposed to do those couple of shows with you in October, although one of them's a little up in the air.
Yeah, it looks like we're moving it. I'm not sure if I'm supposed to say where to yet. I think we're working on the logistics, but sounds like we're probably moving it to another venue, semi nearby. But yeah, dude, that was wild, man. For anyone not knowing what we're talking about, the Apollo Theater in Belvedere had a tornado hit and basically knocked in the roof. During a show. During a show with, like, you know, Morbid Angel and
Oh shit!
That's
Who's playing?
Morbid Angel.
Fitting.
Yeah,
that's probably a sign. Yeah, it's probably a sign, right?
Yeah, a lot of people were saying that, man, and that's just in bad taste. Come on, guys, come on.
It is, but like tragedy's terrible. We don't like dwell. I mean, it is. I get it. Yeah, it's a coping mechanism, bro. You know.
I understand.
You gotta make jokes.
Yeah, I know.
I have to make jokes.
But yeah, I mean, yes, but yeah, the footage. I mean, I saw the footage of it, dude. It'd be freaky, man. I couldn't imagine that. Like, you're just enjoying the show, all of a sudden the roof's caving in and falling on people, you know?
Yeah, no, that's awful
wild
thing. That's an awful thing.
You like barely want to be there as a performer. You're like in Illinois. You're like, oh fuck, I'm in Illinois, and then like a tornado hits you. You're like, oh god, I knew I should have stayed home. You know, it's like God, rich in Bitcoin or something. You know?
Right. Yeah, man. So
like, it's crazy. Like I was talking a little bit earlier. It's crazy how much shit is like happening to your band right now. And like obviously you already had a huge band before we spoke a couple weeks ago. But like since then, like I've seen, maybe it's because like I like focused on it more or something after I met you or something. But like, I saw like all the press. You're like blown up right now, man. Like it's like crazy to see that, and it's like good to see that. I like seeing people do cool shit, and like I'm like just happy to see that, man. Like, to be honest, like, you know, and like you're like humble. I think that's like why a lot of people probably are drawn to it. You don't seem like a shitbag about it.
Well, honestly, we are grateful. It's again, we haven't done shows in forever, and I don't know how many shows we're gonna do after this. It's one of those, like, you know, we're making a run for it and see how it works. See how it works with family and all that stuff. Because, you know, part of the reason why I wasn't touring was because, you know, I have kids. You know, I don't want to be gone months at a time if I can help it. You know, I got a regular job that, you know, pays the bills, and I've got to pay the bills, and you know, so just with the way I've built my life, this is what I have to do at home. So, you know, but being able to do the weekend warrior rock star thing is pretty cool. You know,
it's dope and it's smart, really. I mean, you have the best of both worlds. You have like health insurance, and then you got like fucking the rock star thing on the weekend. You know, it's like,
exactly.
You're like the only artist with health insurance right now.
Probably.
That's a wonderful observation, man.
It's true. It's great. I mean, it's like very smart to take the best of both worlds, I think. You know?
Yeah, man.
And I think, you know, Phil, when you and I were talking kind of recently, and I think I mentioned to you then that, you know, it seems like people bitch more and more these days about weekday shows.
Right.
You know, it's like a strange thing to bitch about, in my opinion, as a fucking adult. Like, just go to the show. But you don't have to get wasted and stay up late. Right, dude. Like, just because you go to the show doesn't mean you have to drink like 20 shots of fucking Jameson, you know? So, but
your venues are like, whoa. Like, all your guys' venues are freaking out right now.
Hey, we're playing Fridays and Saturdays, so feel free. Yeah.
So that's the genius of it, though, is, you know, only doing those best nights of the week. I mean, you're only going to make everybody happy that gets to go, and ensure that you have better shows, and, you know, kind of everybody wins, and you get your health insurance. So
yeah, man, I get to keep my health insurance.
Everybody wins.
Bro, you're like the only dude that fills a place on a Tuesday I've ever seen in my life. Like it pops like it's like a fucking Tuesday. There's like a shit ton of people there. I'm just like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I'm there for some reason. Even, you know, I'm just like, what am I doing? It pops on a fucking Tuesday or whatever. You know what I mean? But it's like he somehow has it full on a fucking weekday. I'm like, as a comedian, I wish I could do that. I mean, I can't. I could never convince people to see a comedy show on Tuesday. I feel like I couldn't do it. I don't. It's drinking's hard, like you said. Like I think
I mean, I look at it as a business. We go out there and I'm spending X amount of money per day we're out there on tour. Every day that we're not playing a show, we're hemorrhaging money. So we try to play every day out the road, but
I think you're blessed to be able to. I mean, that's killer. That's killer. You could do. I mean, you know what I mean? I couldn't. If I fucking I'm doing a show on a Tuesday, nobody'd give a fuck if they wouldn't go. I'd have to do I could do Thursdays, bro. Like Friday, Saturday. I could kill it on comedy those days. But if I was to do a Tuesday, I guarantee I couldn't have got it.
Dude, we've had some rough Tuesdays, dude. We've had some rough Tuesdays. Let me tell you.
Nobody give a fuck. It'd be like me and other comics if I booked a Tuesday show. It'd just be me and other comics. Like no one would fucking go. But I feel like weekends that's where it's at too. Especially if your band's coming out of like not playing for 10 years, Phil. Like that's like a big thing. Like you're like okay. Like I'm like the attitude you're having makes it more exciting because the fans don't know what they're getting right away. Like they're like okay, these guys haven't played in 10 years. How many shows are they gonna do? You adding to it. You sold out the machine shop like how many times? Like fucking 5 times or something. That's insane. You know what I mean? So people are excited, bro, and I think like that's exciting seeing it grow and stuff. And I think it's like, I mean, that's what I mean, that's proof their dream exists. That's what everybody's just chasing. They want that fucking American dream, dude. That's what it is.
Yeah, and I mean, like I said, me and Tom had many conversations about how to do this the best way we can do it. And it really was like, it's not just for us. It is for our fans. Our fans have been waiting a long time for us to come out. And I don't want to come out on a Tuesday where one of our fans might say, oh, I have to work in the morning. I can't make it, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, if we're going to come to you.
Tuesday. I've never seen motherfuckers fill Tuesdays. Like, Sean's the only motherfucker I've seen do that. I have all the artists that know no one's filling Tuesday. I have no idea how he's pulling fucking people in the middle of a town that doesn't even have a population. You probably play Pops, right? There's no population there, so everybody's coming from somewhere else. On a Tuesday, that's dope energy, man.
Well, Pops is a classic place, man. We've all played Pops many times.
I had a feeling you did. No, I had a feeling you played there too.
Yeah, girl Chargé.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, that would rule. Seeing both you guys, like you guys both had a show. That'd fucking rule, man.
Yeah, well,
we're definitely playing a couple shows in Illinois. If you want to come out, Anthony, and
I might have to. How far is it though? How far is it from St. Louis? Like 3 hours, something, 4 hours?
How far is Chicago from you?
Oh fuck! Like it depends on how fast you drive. But like,
that's far. That's far.
4-ish hours. 4-ish hours to drive fast.
Yeah, they're all closest to Chicago, if I remember right. Like Joliet.
Fuck it. Why not?
Joliet's probably the closest.
Why not? Yeah, that'd be cool to see. I've never seen Taproot live. I've never seen. So that'd be interesting.
Depending on where they reschedule that Belvedere one, I guess there's a chance. But it sounds like you know where it is, and I don't.
It's not closer.
It's more north. No, Belvedere's more north of Chicago, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it is. Yeah, I'm geography dumb right now.
You can't get much more north than Joliet, but I mean, I guess there's like Rockford up there, and there's a couple.
Well, Chicago's like at the lake, so you have like those ones above it and stuff. I think
right. You gotta go. Yeah. Either way, it's not much closer to you. I'm so far.
No, I'd rather fucking I'd fucking kick it on those trains, man. You guys ever do that stuff? You ever just take the trains to your show sometimes, like wherever? Like say you have one of like I don't know, I'm naming cities that are local to myself, but they're not relatable, I guess. But like we get to Kansas City, Chicago, like super fast in the train. So whenever you would show up there, it's like I'd ride the train and just like allegedly eat edibles and just like I don't know, eat as much food as I can, and I just it's just like sitting there. You don't have to drive and stare at the road forever. You're like
I don't think I've ever been on a train as like other than like a subway type deal.
Okay,
something like that.
Because I've been chills in a band. You can probably hype people up, dude. Like if you're just riding a train and like a bunch of rock stars come on, dude, that'd be fucking crazy. People would be like, "What the fuck?" You probably get hella fans like that. Like it'd be good promo. I don't know.
We track most of our music these days in St. Louis, and my drummer lives in Chicago. He actually takes the train down from Chicago to St. Louis to record a lot of the times because it's fast and inexpensive. And like you said, you could eat as many allegedly
edibles,
drug foods as you please, you know.
Yeah, dude. Like I just chased the food cart one time and like got lost in the train. I was on like 3 or 4 cars up. I have no idea. It's just the food cart. I'm like, I'm getting all this food, and I went up there and I like turned around like I have no idea where I sat at. You know, like and nobody knew anything either. I'm like I was like, you guys know where I sat at? Like, no, fuck. But I found all my stuff.
Train adventures.
Went to Detroit for that movie on Amazon. Like I find places to work that are cheap to fly. You guys fly like New York is like $288 round trip right now from St. Louis. I was looking, I'm like, what the fuck? And like I don't want to go there, but like if I could make money, I would. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
Like if they pay me, I'd go. You know, but like I'm not gonna go. I mean, like I'm just saying if that's good use for you guys, man. Like, is there so many bullshit things you can get on and not even spend money, like Megabus or something? Like,
all right,
so much like bullshit you guys can literally just like not spend any money, just make money.
Well, see, you have the advantage is that you don't have to bring a bunch of gear with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
We
You
have to worry about. Yeah.
Fuck that. Yeah, no, you're right. No.
Do you even roll with your own mic?
No. No. Dude, if I wasn't with my wife, I would just bring my wallet and cell phone. I mean, that's I would like buy clothes when I got there. I'd do whatever the fuck I had to do. But like my wife makes me more responsible. Like I have like a tour bus now. But if without my wife, I'd just be in some cheap ass rental car, passed out, making all money. You know, he's like doing some like fucking like a couple $1,000 show and sleeping in a fucking car, so I don't spend any money. You know.
Right.
So just a suggestion here. When you use these.
You're more qualified to be a comedian than I am. I feel like that.
When you use these, that everybody else is doing this too.
Yeah.
You know, you're picking up a lot of unwanted junk there.
It makes me stronger, bro.
It does. It does.
It's the George Carlin Germ thing, right? You got to let your body practice. So I guess you're fine.
Well, if I was smart, Sean, I wouldn't be in comedy. I would have like went to law school or something. I regret that every day. I'm like, man, I actually cured cancer with the law school or something. You know, it's like, but I feel like I don't know. Yeah, it's not a field for smart people, you know.
Oh,
if I was be a rock star. Like, you guys have the job I wanted as a child, both you motherfuckers. I do like that's just like that would be the best thing in the world. Like, just, dude, that's like the American dream to me, 100%. I think being a rock star. I think that's fucking dope, dude.
Dude, if you cured cancer, you'd be dead by now. So be happy you haven't done that.
Ain't that the truth, dude?
Yeah, you gotta stay Homer Simpson dumb so they keep you like that.
Yeah.
Cure cancer or come up with an alternative fuel source for a car.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Or of course, you know, say that you have information that would lead to the arrest of the Clintons, and you will die.
We just lost YouTube, I think.
The feed just dropped.
Check us out on Roku, Fire TV, everything but YouTube.
Right.
No, that's yeah. The world, do me a slave sucks. You know, they don't have to rub it in their face so much. You know, they just like could have let me just think I was free. Like I thought I was free. You know, I was like, man, I'm free. You know, I like felt that. And they're like, nope. And I'm like, oh shit. You know, I'm like, fuck, I'm a slave. I forgot.
Yeah. They don't want you to feel free.
You gotta remember that.
So like, you're just a court jester. You know, I'm like, fuck. Yeah.
We all have our place, man.
Dude, speaking of New York City, did you guys just announce a show in New York City?
Yeah, we're doing Gramercy Theater on November 4th, I think.
You guys are brave, man.
Yeah, I know, right?
The amount of everything that goes into a New York City show anymore is just like
I was trying not to, but they gave us a good offer, and it was on the right date, and we're just like, you know, and they've been cool to us. We played there before, and we're really trying to manage this without a trailer,
right?
So we'll see if that works.
That'll
make it a lot easier. Yeah,
make the drive-in better. That's for sure.
Yeah, dude, traveling with a trailer in New York City is a nightmare.
Dude.
But yeah, we've done it, so I know we can do it. But I'd rather not.
Did I ever tell you the story of when I had to drive our tour bus through New York City?
Probably. Feel free to share, dude. We've had many hours to talk on the road, but I'm sure we've shared that one. But go ahead.
We had this very shit. We were doing a tour, us and Hurt, sharing a bus, and we had this like very shady bus deal. It was like you know, normal tour bus companies, like they will provide the driver. You got to pay them, but they provide the driver.
They do not want you driving their bus. Correct.
Right. So I somehow talked the very shady owner of this bus company into allowing us to provide the driver. And so I got my friend from high school who has a CDL to come out and do it for, you know, like a third of the price as a regular driver and sleep in a bunk rather than getting a hotel every night. So it cut the driver cost into like
significantly, I'm sure,
a quarter of what it would have been. But the problem is that my old friend had some issues with pills and booze, and so I ended up driving the tour bus like most of the tour, and it was a full 45 footer with the trailer on the back. So we were
with the trailer. Oh my god.
Yeah, so we were at like 65 feet or just about.
Yeah.
And so New York City was one of those shows that he ended up being just like sloppy, like by the end of the night, by the time it was time to go. And I was just like, fuck it. So I jumped back behind the wheel and drove the bus out of New York City with the trailer on the back. And I was just like,
that's crazy.
White knuckling it, I mean, obviously you're not going fast, but you're gripping that wheel so tight, just focusing, because there's just people all over the place.
So much shit.
But we made it out, and I mean, it gave me the confidence to drive just about anything, anywhere from then on.
Yeah, right? I mean, trying to make turns in New York City with a bus and trailer, dude, oh my goodness.
It was retarded. It was
bad enough with a van and trailer. Wow. Yeah, good for you.
Yeah, it was a crazy night.
Dude, I was mapping out, like, so lazy to like to get on a plane here in St. Louis in the morning, get to St. Louis, leave that night so I didn't have to get an Airbnb, and then just go like an Uber and like see if I could do like 3 sets in that time, and like fly back. I was like trying to figure that out. It was like this dude on my Facebook has a bunch of venues like that. He's like, who are these people for these days? I'm like, holy shit, I'll look into that,
Yeah, right.
Because I mean, it's all a bunch of tourists. I mean, you probably get a bunch of tourists for your shows and like just making money up there, bro.
Are you talking about doing a set 3 sets in New York City?
Yeah, trying to. I'm trying to figure it out, and then so I could fly in the morning and fly back at night.
Right.
Like just the same day, so I'm not like getting Airbnbs. I don't like want to stay there. I eat like dollar pizza or some shit. So I just like the cheapest way possible to make the most amount of money.
Dude, the pizza is almost worth the trip.
Dude, yeah, $1 and shit, man. Yeah. Anyway, no comment on here. Like, dude, I couldn't imagine driving a bus through any kind of heavy populated area. And I have a bus, man. I couldn't even. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck you did that. Like
yeah, you know all about driving a bus. But
I know about sleeping on it.
Are you pulling a trailer with your house bus?
God no. You gave me a heart attack describing that, bro. Like I was just like, oh, I just pictured that on like just driving those roads and those curves and all that shit. I'm like, oh my god, bro.
Yeah.
Well, the box. You ever actually have to stop in the box?
In the Bronx.
The box where those little spaces that you're not allowed to drive on when traffic stops. There's this little box, like the little cross section that you're not supposed to be in when you stop, right? They basically so like you're not blocking the intersection,
right?
And they have cops everywhere. We've gotten yelled at like for being in the box several times.
Oh, I got you. Yeah, luckily I didn't run into that, but that sounds like terrifying.
Yeah,
shit on shit right there.
Yep.
Yeah. Driving anywhere sucks. Like I had to drive to go get food and it sucked. I mean, I could imagine like driving like even worse. It's like, and like dude, like it's I'm in St. Louis and I felt like it was that stereotype happened to me. Like I went to like a gas station and then like went to like a place that has no title on it and had fried chicken. I'm like, I know that chicken's gonna be amazing. I can just tell. And like there's a shooting behind there while I'm getting the chicken. And I'm like, this is gonna be the best chicken ever. I can just tell. I just the vibe. It's like. Like I'm like I don't know. I'm like I can just tell that like no one would go here unless this was awesome. So I'm like it has to be awesome.
What is it about the best fried chicken places being like where you can totally get murdered?
War zone.
Yeah,
it's like in fucking.
There's a place in Memphis that we were just there like last week called Uncle Lou's Hot Chicken, and it is just so fucking amazing, but. You're definitely risking something going there every single time. We just keep doing it every time we go to Memphis.
Dude, Memphis is crazy. I don't know much like little kid homeless kids or something. I don't know if they're gang members or homeless, whatever. They're just like out on Beale Street late. They try to like swarm you and jump you at night or something. Like they're like, or to me anyway. I was all fucked up. Like you couldn't have scared me of them. I was so trashy. But I was just, but they're just like being all crazy. Like, what am I totally standing? Like I'm supposed to just tell them information. Here's how to rob me, bro. But yeah, here's a bunch of information on how to rob. One dude tried to steal my phone, but he's like, where's this at for direction wise? And I was like in gear to like trip him basically. He ran off and just like kick him and stuff. But I was just thinking like you basically bully these people. They like start things. They start all the action, and then you can just like fuck with them. I'm like, you attacked me, dude. They'd be like. You'd be like, It's like you came to me, bro. You know, that's what Memphis is like on the tourist areas. That's what it feels like there. It's like you drink past you can drink forever out there. I think this had to have been past 3. I think you could drink past 3 out there.
Isn't it 24 hours on Beale Street?
I want to say because I was way past 3 when I was drinking, and I was like the only dude like bar hopping, and like they're all trying to call me stupid and shit. I'm like, I don't know, whatever, baby, probably, you know, I'm probably stupid. But just like and they trying to bully me and shit. And, like it was weird, and I just started making fun of them and shit. I don't know.
Dude, you gotta love the those types of local thugs in Memphis and in New Orleans. They're very similar.
New Orleans too. Yeah, I haven't been to New Orleans.
The New Orleans ones are always, they have these little like retarded tricks that they try to play on you that they come up and they say like, hey man, I bet I can guess where you got your shoes. And you know, most people would just be like, wave them off and just keep walking. You know, you don't even want to interact with people like that. But if you're,
I know the bum trick already, it's your feet, right? You just like, oh, my feet. Oh, you know.
Well,
that's gonna be clear. What do you say?
I can't remember how it works exactly, but they say something stupid and then they say, now you owe me $20. Yeah, and then if you don't pay up, then they try to get like more forceful on you. And but to fall for that is you know, should be obvious to just kind of brush these people off, you know.
Yeah, I answer. I like fucking with them. I answer and shit. You know, I'm just like, they ask me for money all the time. I'm like, I was gonna ask you for money, man. You got any money for me? You know, it's like just fuck with them. It's like, you know, I'm like, fucking look at them. I'm more homeless than you. I'm more homeless looking than you. You know, it's like I just like fuck with them. And like, you know, I have to because there's so many of them, dude. Like, if someone's starving, I'll buy them food or something. You know, I'm not gonna be a dick or something. But if they're just like talking about crazy shit, like one guy was like wanted me to play some game I saw in like this movie with like the Wayans brothers in the '90s. It was like this movie with the what was that, Mo Money or something? Mo Money. Like it's like '90s Wayans brother movie. He was trying to do the same trick, and I told him that, and he like felt stupid. I saw the movie. Like you could tell, he's like, oh fuck, other people have TV.
Right.
He never thought he'd get called out probably on that one.
Yeah, it's weird.
They
sell you cool shit. Sorry, what were you saying?
Somewhere downtown Atlanta. I forget where. We're just some hotel. We're kind of near everything, and it was back when we had a bus that we would tour on. And we'd sometimes stay on the bus watching TV or whatever. So our guitarist at the time, Mike, he was staying on the bus, and someone knocked on the door, and it was someone asking for change or whatever, and he gave him a hamburger because he had a spare hamburger or something.
Fuck yeah.
All of a sudden, the bus is surrounded apparently.
Oh, dude, yeah, certain towns like Chicago
by people asking and begging and all, and he was just like, it was Mike. You know, he was not comfortable.
Yeah, you guys are rock stars and you couldn't afford that. No one can afford that. You mean like to feed everybody? Like, I wish I could fix everybody's problems, you know? And like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but you can't, dude. Like, sometimes I will if I can, you know? Like, someone asked me for water. I can help them, like, whatever. Like, no, you're right.
But yeah, it's too much. It's too much. It's too much out there, man. You can't take care of everybody.
It's like feeding the gulls at the beach. You know, you throw a couple handfuls of French fries out, and before you know it, you just fucking swarm to getting shit on.
Dude, yeah. People just have to borrow like too much money. I feel like that too. Like I have like people like every day. People like the other day, 5 people asked me for money. Like I think 2 days ago, 5 people asked me. I'm like, I can't keep up with this. I can't keep up with all your bills. It's like, what the fuck? It's like
they don't even ask for change anymore either. They ask for like $10. You're just like, fucking dude.
Inflation, dude. Inflation.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Like I have $40. I'll pay you back. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah, dude. Start with change, you know. I mean, $1, that sounds pretty reasonable, but when you jump up into the larger bills, it just seems like fuck off.
Right.
Yeah, so you only be so nice, you know. I'm not trying to be a dick, but I'll help people as much as I can, but I'm not at my expense though. You know, it's like fuck. I'm not gonna like fuck myself out of like stuff, you know. It's like, man, I did a bunch of shit I didn't want to do. You know what I mean? I'm like, I did hella shit I didn't want to do to not be broke. Like, I mean, it's just like fuck. It's like, man, I'm constantly working, man. I'm like, sometimes I have to sit on a couch and talk to rock stars. It's a really hard life, you know. You have to sit on couches, you know.
But hey, you know, you had to do things to build up to wherever you are, and anyone has that potential, you know. So
yeah, same as you guys. Yeah, I mean that's what you guys thought of ideas and executed them, and that's what the fuck. That's what's going on. You guys are, you know what I mean? You're just doing your dreams and shit. And that's dope. And same thing with comedy. Yeah, no, I fucking was. I mean, I'm still a nobody, but I feel like I was like an even more nobody before. It's like it just keeps, you know, just keeps going. Like you get less levels of nobody. You going on. You know, it feels like
that's great.
now everybody's verified on the internet, but me. You notice that? Like everybody's like buying check marks now.
Oh yeah, right.
I'm like, everybody's verified but me now. This is the opposite of like 4 years ago.
Honestly, I'm happy not to be verified now because it's just like it took that. I mean, that makes it take a turn. You know what I mean? Like you have to pay for that now. It's
sad.
Yeah.
Dude, you know what's hilarious is that Instagram will not verify Smile Empty Soul. Like I've applied for the verification several times.
Yeah.
And they ask for certain things like links to prove that you're notable enough, and I literally link our Facebook page, which is verified by the same fucking company.
I know, right?
And then I link like a Wikipedia page that literally like says, what we've done, what we've accomplished as a band. And then there was another one that said like, link an article. So I linked an article from MTV.com about us, thinking, okay, this will all be enough
proof.
And then they're like, your verification has been denied. And then right after that is when like all of a sudden like all these fucking people with like 500 followers are like and like one song on Spotify they're pushing are all verified everywhere. I was like, what's going on, dude? And then I found out that they're selling the verification thing. So
yeah, it's crazy. Like the same thing with Instagram with me. They wouldn't do Instagram. They did Twitter and they did YouTube for me, and then like some other apps like I got a bunch of like those like Republican apps. Like I was verified like Parler and a bunch of shit I shouldn't say on YouTube. But I feel like but I feel like it's the same thing. Instagram wouldn't do it for me either. I'm like, oh, here's a Fox article. Here's like you said the verification on your same company. I had Facebook at one time too. They deleted it. I had 1 million people on Facebook and they deleted it because and like the verified one, and then now everybody has it but me. That's like weird. So my entire newsfeed, everybody has a check mark with me. It reminds me of like that Sneetches thing written like 61 by Seuss. Dr. Seuss wrote this thing called like Starbelly Sneetches, where like some people's stars are special, and then everyone got a star, and they're like, oh fuck, everyone's special now. Get rid of this, And it's the same thing with check marks. Like it's like everybody wants to feel important or whatever. You have to do the work. I feel like to be in American society, the game, the way it is. I think you have to like put in work and hours. You can't just like fucking pay $5,
Well, now was $14.99 is what Kiko says.
Oh yeah, it's on the comment.
Yeah. And that's per month.
Per month.
Per month. $14.99 a month.
To be spied on?
Yeah,
like,
you're already being spied on, but
no, thank you, man. I mean,
these people paid them to give them their ID too. You have to give your ID when you're verified too. So they paid to give people their ID.
Right.
44 million people like this week paid to give social media companies their ID.
Oh, they already have it.
Fair. That's fair. That's so true.
We happily give them all the information. Take a look at pictures of me, look at pictures of my family, look where I live, look what I'm doing.
That's honest. Yeah, no, great point.
And even if they didn't have that, our phones are listening all the time anyway. So
exactly.
Yeah,
there's that whole thing.
There's really no escaping it. I mean, it's I wouldn't be surprised if they're listening to your inner thoughts that aren't even spoken at this point.
The algorithms know, man.
I mean, I don't put it past them to have that technology, and if they do have that technology, they would absolutely incorporate it into your phones and your laptops and shit. So why not?
Yeah, well, I remember there's an algorithm. I mean, the way the algorithms work, they're very complicated, and they understand us really well. And there was an article I read years ago. I mean, well before it got as crazy as it is now, talking about how basically they can tell what kind of person you are if you order Arby's fries or something. I forget what it was, but just some crazy little thing. And it's like, it's because of this and this and this, and it just explained it. It's like, wow, they know what kind of person you are if you order our Arby's fries.
Well, I think they build such a detailed profile on each person at this point that they know you better than you know yourself at a certain point. Sometimes,
yeah.
I mean, who knows how much they're storing about you psychologically, and besides your physical actions. So
yeah,
it's pretty scary, to think about.
Again, besides the obvious stuff that you put out there, it's the stuff that they can hear when you think they're not listening, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if you've ever gone down the Edward Snowden rabbit holes, but from what he says, it's pretty scary.
Yeah.
It gets pretty scary with like what they can do with this information and know about you with this information, just the constant listening. And what is it like, even like your Alexa and Siri and all that stuff over loud music can hear you.
Right.
They can distinguish what you're saying, and that's crazy. And again, what do I do about it? Nothing.
Yeah, I'm like, are we like hypnoptized or something? It's like
I have all the same conversations, all the same nods. Because I'm like, what are they gonna do to me? I'll be like, I'm nobody. As much as I'm nobody.
Knowing that's everything, because like a lot of people with your accomplishments would be assholes. You mean like a lot of they'd go to their head, they'd be fucking dicks, dude. Like I think that staying humbles like everything. Like being able to kill it and staying humbles everything. I think like that's like I think in my opinion. I don't know what the fuck that's worth. There's like a dude shouting. But no, I think it's true though, man. I think like I don't know, it's crazy, man. You guys are killing it right now. But Sean is the fucking shows you guys are doing right now, he's killing it, man. It's like I'm hyped to see it. I like see like posts and stuff. I'm like, that's fucking cool.
Dude, I think you're the only one in this room that just played a show in Hawaii, though. That's for sure.
I mean, yeah, but like one show, you came back from like 50 shows. You mean, like, and the time I went to Hawaii, you probably had 50 shows. So,
no, I just did 14, so that's
still
I mean, it's decent, but not 50.
Yeah.
Well, you haven't played up here in Cincinnati or near me in a while, Sean. I think keep looking at your tour dates, and so I had to book something to get you back up here.
That'll do it. I don't know why we don't. Well, I mean, I do know why we don't play. It's not a strong.
Or near us, even even Columbus, and I don't know. You haven't played near us in a while. I mean, what's last time was you and Ty down in? Yeah, it was
Thompson House.
Yeah,
in Newport, Kentucky.
Yeah.
We're playing Columbus, in June.
Oh yeah, which club?
The Basement.
Okay.
You ever heard of that?
I might have heard of it. I don't know if I've been there.
It smells just like it sounds. It's an underground, all black, dungeon type dive bar, but it's actually pretty cool. Like the vibe is good. So
nice.
We played there. We played there maybe a year and a half ago or so.
Okay.
But we'll be back in June. If you want to come out, you're always welcome, of course.
Yeah, man. That's not far away. It's like just over an hour.
Nice. Yeah. Come on out.
As long as it's a Tuesday, I'll make it out there.
That's all we do is. That's all we do is Tuesdays.
Dude, I was surprised you filmed that on a fucking Tuesday. I meant no disrespect on that. I was like, if I threw a show on a fucking Tuesday, I would never have people there. I meant no disrespect. I was like hyped for you. I'm like,
Tuesdays are rough, man. Tuesdays can be rough.
Yeah, somehow you had hella people there. I'm like, that's good for him. I mean, I get why. I mean, it makes sense, but it's just like, it's crazy.
So, oh my God, dude.
What up?
Oh,
Tuesday?
I thought it was a Tuesday. No, it's actually, it's June 11th, which is a Sunday. It will be in Columbus.
So right after church, just go see Smile with Your Soul.
That's right.
Right after church.
Yeah, dude, we actually had a couple. This last tour was pretty decent. We had a couple of like insanely rocking Tuesdays and Wednesdays that were like better than the show of the weekend that we had just had.
Right.
I don't know how that came together, but it was down in Florida, and a couple of good little weeknights there.
Yeah, we're trying to get to Florida. We were almost going to get down there. It just with some of the timings with the dates and how it's going to work. We couldn't make it work just yet, but yeah. What's good venues down there right now? Do you remember?
we had a good show at the Buddha in Fort Myers.
Okay, I like Fort Myers.
We had a good show in Tampa at the Brass Mug, which that's been there forever. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
You guys have probably played there.
Dude, after making fun of Tuesdays, like Marshall in the comments just goes, "Your entire show's on Tuesdays." I just never even connected that. That was so retarded. I'm like, nobody will do anything on Tuesdays. Like,
that's true. We do this every Tuesday and only Tuesday.
Dude, yeah, pointed that out in the comments. Like, Marshall say that. It's so funny.
But yeah, but you can drink in the comfort of your home watching this show on Tuesdays, right? You don't have to go out and leave the house.
You can take your 20 shots of Jameson in your PJs.
Exactly.
Dude, people are like that at comedy shows. You get way too drunk, like, and I won't drink till after my set, so I don't fucking like. I completely just don't give a fuck, you know. I'll drink with them afterwards. And you guys they're pounding shots after drinking for like 2 hours with me. I mean, and they'll take like 5 shots with me, and they were already drinking for like ever. You know what I mean? Like, it's like crazy. You know, they're like, oh, you want some shots? You want tequila? Or whatever the fuck, you know, it's like.
They have to impress you, man.
I mean, it works. I mean, that's how you impress me. I mean, just giving me things. I mean, that's the easiest way to impress me, you know?
Right.
Did they tell you the same story like 10 times in a row while spitting all over your face?
No, it was fun, man. Like
that is the best part about talking to people that are really drunk. That is the best part.
Dude, I love the guys that get like this fucking close to your face too. Like, I have this move that I do where I put my foot sideways in front of me, and then I just take a step back, leaving my foot right there, and it creates like a ramp that they can't get closer to me. And so they keep trying to like lean over my foot, and they don't notice that I'm even they should notice that I'm doing that.
They can't figure it out.
That I'm not enjoying the conversation, but they don't notice that because they're too drunk. So they just keep trying to lean further over my foot to get in my face, and it's pretty funny to watch.
Dude, I'm laughing so hard because I'm remembering touring with you. And I don't remember where the show was, but there's some guy trying to put his arm around you or something. And I'm just laughing because I can't even remember the details, dude. But it was so funny. Like, you kind of had to, like, you know, do this whole shimmy, like, twist thing. And the guy was just wasn't getting it. He was just trying to, like, almost like, I feel like it's almost like one of these. And not just like an arm around you, but almost like one of these things, like arms around. And you're just like, we're not doing this.
Dude, you know how it goes, man. It's warfare.
I mean, you have some great fans, but some again when they get too drunk, and and they just, you know, I'm sure they're kicking themselves the next day if they even can remember what they were doing. But yeah, they get a little overly touchy feely, close, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, it's definitely the booze. You know, it's not like a flaw of the human being. I mean, maybe needing to drink the 20 shots of Jameson is the flaw, but it is the Jameson that's creating the situation.
Right.
But I mean,
I was in Virginia one time. I was in like Virginia with my buddy Bruce. Like, we were at some place like cutting through. We were in the wrong spot. We thought this was like Chesapeake, like the historical story, but it wasn't. We're idiots. But so we got like this hotel, and like these people, this girl and her boyfriend wanted to like get like. I was in this movie called Rampage. Like, there's like this like it's like if you're into like killing movies, yeah, it's like one of those movies. So they wanted me to sign a DVD. They pull up and they just like hit something like right in front of their parking. My buddy just looks at me and goes, "That's probably your fans." I'm like, and then it was. He was like, they were like, they got out of the car with like a beer, and then they're just like drinking. And then they asked for like a sticker and like a fucking autograph for like that Rampage 3 DVD or the Rampage Present Demo goes in, and like it's just funny how they like pulled in. And just like hit something and just like I'm like, I don't know, man. It was weird. It was a weird experience, but like fun, you know. It's like, okay, we're probably fun as fuck, you know. I don't know.
Nice.
We got great people, you know. But you know, it's like
it keeps the adventure going, though. You know what I mean? It keeps. You never know what to expect.
Yeah, the live entertainment world thrives off of those people. That's they keep it all. They keep it all rolling, you know.
Oh yeah, dude. That's why I don't work at a fucking gas station right now. Like, I mean, he's like fucking like that's why I think they're all geniuses, man. Like, I'm like, if you're on some shit like this before like pops off and shit, or like as he pops off, I mean, it's like fucking. I love all those motherfuckers, man. Like,
sometimes
gas station, you know?
Sometimes they're the ones too that come up to the merch table and they're just like, I want that and that and that and that and that and that, and then they give you their credit card and you're like, all right, dude, and you know, so it's a give and take, you know.
Double-edged sword, dude. Double-edged sword. It cuts both ways.
Exactly. Sometimes they hook you up, you know, with a nice merch night, and sometimes they just spray your face down with fucking saliva. Tell you the same story over and over.
I bet you get off drugs a lot because you're bottom of the bottle song. I bet you got fucking people just being like, I don't know if it's still like that. Like they've known you for a while. I bet you fucking get like random people like, just like, dude, just fucking what about this, yeah?
Yeah.
I bet you get that a lot. Your hit was just about doing drugs. That was like a hit song about just doing it for drugs.
It used to be worse, back when that song was current, because it was
back when you were doing drugs.
Yeah, absolutely. But when the song was current and really popular, it was definitely, a lot of shit going on. But since then, I mean, we've changed a lot and released a lot of music that's a little more cerebral and in nature and not like a party theme. So
right.
I feel like that's toned down a little bit, but there's always those people that only know us for that song and they've got those 20 shots down and they're ready to talk,
Yeah.
That's what bought you that house, bro. Those motherfuckers, like, I mean, those guys are like fucking. I mean, you had such good music, man. I mean, both you guys, man. I mean, that's just good, dude. Like, to have fans at all. You know what I mean? I think it's awesome. And I think it's fun to make fun of this. So, but I think it's fun to make fun of anybody, But I'm just saying, like, I think that's cool, man. Like, you guys are able to like do that. A lot of people. I mean, I tried to do music. I suck. I'm so bad at music. I couldn't do what you guys do. I don't have any talent whatsoever musically. So I mean, I respect guys like you that can go out there and just fucking like kill it. And you toured with Small Soul for a while playing bass too, didn't you, Phil? That's another cool thing to me. I mean, you're finally a member of Taproot and also just fucking touring with bands you're just buddies with. That's fucking chill.
One of the best summers of my life. Touring with these guys, man. I mean, it was fun, man. We had a blast, dude. About 3 to 4 months of touring.
Yeah, we had a lot of good times. Barbecued a lot, and
some camping trips. Getting the honey badger drunk.
Yeah, that's right. Dude, Phil. So we had our tour manager was this guy named X. That is I've actually known him since we were like babies and shit.
Oh, that's crazy.
Our dads were best friends.
Okay.
And so he liked his booze, and Phil would like pretend to drink and like get into little drinking competitions with we called him the honey badger at times too. And Phil would pretend to drink and then just keep passing the bottle to X, and X would really swig. I remember one night they were passing this bottle of Knob Creek back and forth.
That's what it is, Knob Creek. I was trying to remember it. Something Creek.
Yeah. And until to the point that X literally just, I can't remember how it happened. He just stood up in the middle of our Mercedes Sprinter van that was converted into like a little RV kind of living situation. He stood up in the middle and just started pissing like a river through his jeans. All over the floor, and it just like it never ended. He was just like standing there, just like just pissing everywhere, and we were just
best night of the tour.
Yeah, that was a good one.
I like to. I don't know. It's my thing. When someone's got a vice, it's just like I like to push the buttons. It's just I'm almost like exploiting it, but not just so they can learn their lesson and go, wow, I don't need to do all that. You know what I mean? Like it's sort of this like reverse psychology in a way or something. I don't know. That's how I justify it, at least. Like you don't need to be doing this, man. You don't gotta listen to me. I'm just some dude trying to get you drunk night after night. You don't have to listen to me.
If it's that easy to exploit, might as well, right?
Yeah. But I love that guy, man. I mean, he's a great dude, man. We had a good time on that tour. But yeah, he always let me exploit him, though.
Yeah. No, great dude. Love that guy. But I mean, he had his moments, I remember in Denver one time. By the time we went on stage, he was gone. Like staring through your shoulder as you're talking to him, gone. and right when we ended the show, he just walked out of the venue, and we were playing like in the ghetto somewhere in Denver. I can't even, it was a venue like, when you play those venues only once.
Yeah.
It's like you play some new venue in a town and you're like, I never even heard of this venue. You play it, then you never go back.
Yeah.
It was like one of those, and it was in the ghetto, and he went outside and just disappeared. And we had to like search party for him, and Jake found him up an alleyway behind a dumpster, passed out on the ground. And if we wouldn't have found him, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, right. He could still be out there. He could still be in Denver.
He could. And then there's another time we were at the machine shop, and I'm like walking from the venue at the end of the night out to the vehicle, and like it was like a surreal scene. It was like I could see the vehicle. It was dark out, and I could just see like a misty kind of thing going on, but with like silhouette shadows like being projected onto the mist. I just saw like two huge figures just like pulling up something from the ground.
Okay.
I like come through it, and it's Kevin and one of his main security guys just pulling X up off the ground. He's passed out on the ground in front of our vehicle, like with his head by the front tire or some shit.
Oh boy.
They're just like lifting him up and trying to take him over and put him in the vehicle. And that was X for you.
Yep. So the lesson here, folks, is don't drink too much.
That's right. Even on tour.
Or I will exploit you. Yeah, some girl just asked if you remember the guy that went on stage at the Rathskeller. Does that ring any bells to you?
I saw that too, and I'm trying to think of the particular guy, but I can't actually picture that. I remember the venue. It was like a weird German pub and restaurant in Indiana somewhere. But
and no recollection.
No recollection of the exact person, but I mean that happens more than
right.
People would like to believe,
So we had this show in France. We're playing our song. I think we're like, I'm not sure if it was Paris or whatever, some city in France. And we were headlining, and this guy gets up on stage and asks to sing, right? And we're like, okay, let's see what you got.
You let him do it.
Like, yeah, we'll let him, right? And the guy is French first off, and doesn't know the song. Like, because we're doing our song "Breathe," and this guy starts making up words and sounding fantastic. Like, not mind you. Okay, maybe fantastic might be too strong of a word, but surprisingly good for the fact that he didn't know this song at all and was just making up words.
Right.
Like we're like, this works. This ain't too bad.
So he was making up his own melody and lyrics to the song.
Yeah,
it was good.
Yeah,
that's impressive.
That's an outlier experience, right?
It was. And we have pictures of the guy. I don't have video, unfortunately, but I would have, we were all just kind of like looking at him like, like this is kind of okay. I mean, Steve still grabbed him and threw him off the stage before the song was done, so we could actually play it properly. But
no, I still stabbed the guy, but we had a good song. He had a great song. He was very talented. Yeah, we murdered him.
Security took him outside and beat him. But
yeah, just whatever, Yeah, I like this spirit, No, I like how it started off. Like I headlined some club in France. Like it just sounded cool. It sounded like a great intro. It was a great lead to the story too. The whole thing was great.
Dude, Europe is. I mean, Sean, have you guys ever done Europe?
I mean, no, never.
Yeah. It's different world, man.
By the time we started getting European tour offers, we were already beyond the stage of like tour support from a label, and so it was on us.
You can't. Yeah,
and it was like, hey, you want to come over and fucking do this tour for like $300 a night? And it would be like, not really,
it's tough to start from scratch over there. I mean, without tour support, dude, it's next to impossible.
Yeah, our label that we were on originally with our first record didn't invest in us going over there, so it just never happened.
Right.
And now I wouldn't even go for all the money in the world, So I guess that ship has sailed.
I want to do Australia, man. I think that'd be a fun place to do shows.
Would have been a few years ago.
Fair.
Pre-Rona, I would have loved to have toured there, but with the police tackling and beating anyone that lowered their mask for like 2 seconds at a fucking park outside, I think I'm done with that dream.
I hear you on that one, man.
Yeah,
I don't even know what the restrictions are in other countries anymore. I'm not paying that close attention. I know like Australia was crazy. Are they still on that level?
I don't know what they are anymore. I just saw enough to be like, fuck going there ever. Like that's shit's toast to me, you know.
Yeah, you missed your opportunity.
Yes.
Pre-2020.
I'd still go if the money was right, you know. I feel like Australia seems fun. I just want to experience it, you know, even if it's in a concentration camp, you know. I feel like they need comedy too, you know, like.
Yeah, it has a lot to offer. I mean, just the outdoors shit going on, and the scuba diving and snorkeling, like all the cool shit you can do. It sounds awesome, but 20-some-hour plane rides to a place that's that over the top controlling now, that's not a good combo.
Yeah, right.
Our plane ride. That's you know, I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm with you on the fuck Australia now. You know, I'm joining the movement.
How dare they be so far away?
20 hours on a plane. Oh my god, I can't. That's like a suicide attempt. You know, it's like.
Well, I hear you. You can just take some alleged edibles on your way.
Alleged. That's right.
Yeah. No, I mean that's fine for a couple hour train ride or something. But 20 hours, man, you know, like sit in a seat like this, like next to a bunch of fucking bigger people, and I'm just like, oh god, and then like watch Forrest Gump 7 times while I sleep. That's what happened on the way back from Hawaii. I just kept watching Forrest Gump over and over again. It was under like Disability Awareness Month. Like that's the movies I picked, you know. I just kept watching Forrest Gump. That's fucking
great movie.
It is a great movie. That's how I got back from Hawaii. Like, I just drank a bunch because I don't know, edibles freak me out. I'm a giant pussy and I'm in a plane, you know. Like I'm terrified of my own death, you know.
Yeah, alcohol used to be my go-to for flying. I mean, it just takes the fear away. You're just like, whatever.
Like if I died, would it really be that bad? You know, or you're like a couple of shots of drink, like Jack, like, you know, I feed a shark at least, you know. You find the optimism, you know. But like sober, you're just like, holy shit, I could die. Everybody's an idiot, and the pilot's probably an idiot too. Fuck, you know. That's why I think sober. I'm surrounded by idiots, and I'm an idiot. You know, that's like how I feel most of the time.
Hey, so this is a total fucking change of subject matter, but this is something I wanted to touch on because we didn't really get to last time, and I see we're at like an hour and 10 already. But so your diet, Phil.
That is.
Okay, so let's see. So it's a process to get to where I'm at, right? A lot of people, you know, I've been trying things for a long time, right? And I'm one of these people that likes to test things out, right? Like what is possible? What happens when I do this, right? So it started back in like 2008. Before gluten-free was like the cool thing to do. I remember just kind of stumbling upon it and tried to be gluten-free. And also my joints felt a lot better, you know? And I was like, okay, this is weird. This is cool, you know, because I've always had like these joint issues and stuff, and you know, bad hips. What I thought were bad hips, and turns out, you know, food had a part of it, right? And so that lasted for a little while, but then you know, kind of the joint pain came back, and then I tried cutting out dairy for a long time. I tried being a vegetarian for a while. I tried various things over the years, and then you know. Like most diets, it's tough to stick to anything because there's such I don't know, our food, all the nonsense food seems to taste good, right? You know, the cakes bullshit. And all the processed bullshit, right? We're all you know, somewhat addicted to this nonsense. How much milk do I drink every day? I drink 2 to 3 gallons of raw milk a week. But we'll get into that part. So. Again, along my journey, struggling first off with trying to eat healthy, right? Because that's a big part of it. It's like, you know, I'm trying to be gluten-free, but then someone's got pizza and it's like, it smells so good. I got to have me some pizza.
And on the road too, it's like, how often are you given pizza, you know?
Yeah, right. Well, on your tour, I ate a lot of pizza. Well, that's part of it too. Like, so when I went out on tour with you guys, I kind of just made a decision not like just to eat whatever, honestly. Like I'm gonna eat whatever, whenever, you know. And we were playing these shows where like they'd have a kitchen and like, hey, what do you guys need before the show? I'm like, get me a cheeseburger. What do you want after the show? Get me a large pizza. have it ready for me when I'm done. And I'll just eat whatever. And I've always been about 150 to 160 pounds my entire adult life.
Which is crazy because you're so tall too.
Yeah. So I'm kind of, I'm thin, I'm sleek, svelte, whatever you want to call it.
How tall are you?
6'1".
Okay, yeah.
I usually say 5'13", but so just to be dumb. So when I went on tour with you guys, though, at the end of, not even the end of the tour, halfway through the tour, I was the highest I've ever been in my life at 183 pounds. And mind you, I haven't always eaten healthy. There's been plenty of times that I've eaten just whatever, right? My ice cream, my cereal, all that stuff. I eat like a normal person. But when I made the concerted effort to just not like supersize me where I'm eating that badly, but just kind of like, yeah, if it's offered, I'll eat it, and then I'll make I'll just just eat whatever. Don't really pay attention too much, right? And the drinking, and for me to put on that much weight in that short of a time span, we're talking like a month and a half, to put on 30 pounds, 20 to 30 pounds was shocking, right? And it just tells you how bad it is to just kind of eat that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that wasn't even much fast food, mind you. We didn't stop at fast food places. We're just eating.
We don't eat fast food.
Yeah. Bar food, you know what I mean? Cheeseburgers, that kind of stuff, but not fast food.
Yeah.
And so I can't imagine if we're doing if you were a band that stopped at fast food a lot, what that would have done to me.
Yeah.
So after that, years and years of struggling, trying to eat clean and all that stuff, I kind of, what actually really turned me was when I stumbled upon raw milk. So raw milk, we've been told, is dangerous. It's bad. It can make you sick, all this stuff. But as I did my research and stumbled upon a few people on Instagram, one of the few good things about Instagram is, it just kind of made sense. Like if you drink this stuff from a good source, what I thought was lactose intolerance was just a pasteurized bullshit intolerance, right? I was intolerant to the nonsense from the store. And so I was fortunate that we're near a farm that sells raw milk. I had to jump through some hoops, get a herd share, all that kind of stuff. And all of a sudden I could drink milk. And as I just said, I drink 2 to 3 gallons of milk a week now without any issues. Where before it would be issues, intestinal, whatever, and don't need to get into details, but some issues, I've always loved milk. And when I couldn't drink it, it was just I would try the oat milk and all that nonsense, soy milk and whatever. But I just, once I started drinking raw milk and saw the effect it had on me, it just made me start questioning kind of all the food I was eating and how I was eating it, And so as I went down these rabbit holes of, who was feeling the best and whatever, I'd actually tried carnivore before that and felt really good on it, but I lost a lot of weight on carnivore. I dropped, speaking of the highest I've ever been, when I first went on carnivore, I dropped down to 138 pounds. Wow. At my height, at 6'1". Right. So, but I felt some of the best I've ever felt in my life.
Right.
So I'm like, there's something to it, but the way I was doing it, I guess something just wasn't quite right. At least for my body type. I think having the milk, having, I guess, the extra fat or whatever in there seems to balance me out, because I'm still at, I'm at 162 all the time now, give or take a couple pounds. But, right. But yeah, so going down through this whole evolution. And then, so I started doing the raw eggs, mixing that in my milk. Cause then I started, going down, God, there's so much to this story. Like what makes you sick? What gives you food poisoning, for instance? They say, they also say raw eggs are bad for you, right? And so then it turns out that raw eggs don't make you sick. They're not the things that make you get food poisoning. It's actually when you cook the eggs and leave them out for a long time, that's what's going to make you sick.
That's when the bacteria can creep in.
Yeah, so there's bacteria in it, like even salmonella, all that stuff. And when it's raw, like as God intended, God created this stuff for us, right? It doesn't make you sick, And I've actually had some, not quite rotten eggs, because that stuff is just too foul, right? But semi-rotten eggs that I'm like, throw in some syrup, mix it up in my milkshake, because I understood that that's not what makes you sick, right?
Right.
It's not a bad egg that'll make you sick. it's the, the smell, because it's not for us, right? There's levels. God, there's so much to the story. There's levels to food in this world, right?
Definitely.
And so there's food for bacteria. There's food for, coyotes. There's food for hyenas. There's food for maggots, right? And we're not supposed to eat each other's food. Otherwise, that food would be gone, right? If humans could, if rotten meat tasted good to us, there'd be nothing for anybody else to eat, right? You know what I mean? Because we would just eat everything. We'd eat everything we could, right? If all the food tasted good to us, humans would just eat everything, because we do. We just eat and eat and eat. We're consuming pigs, So,
Oh yeah, I can't eat pork, man.
Right, but that's what makes us not eat everything, but not because it makes you sick. It makes it seem like it would make you sick, but it's not. And so so long before Liver King, I also stumbled upon, again, this idea of cooked food versus non-cooked food. I stumbled upon the raw meat, right? And so it sounds crazy, like who the heck wants to eat raw meat? We've been told, again, that'll make you sick, it's dangerous, all this stuff. And I'd asked the guy about it. I'm like, yeah, like if you eat raw meat, this before I even did it, I'm like, you better have a good source for it. And the guy's like, listen, if you're not willing to eat your meat raw, you probably shouldn't eat it cooked. And that made me kind of go, he makes a good point, right? If it's that bad and cooking it is the only way I can eat it, then what the hell am I doing? What is this that I'm even eating, right? And that was this guy, Josh Rayner Gold. He's on Instagram. He's awesome. But so I started getting my food from the Amish, and for a while I was cooking it, and then now I kind of do a half and half. I sometimes eat it raw, sometimes eat it cooked, and it's just I felt better ever since, and I don't have these cravings for nonsense foods anymore. I don't go on these binges late at night where I eat a box of cereal or something, because I mean that was my lifestyle. I would eat clean, but then I was always felt deprived of eating this nonsense that I grew up on, right? But I feel so good now that it's not really a temptation. I've had a piece of cake here and there. I've had some cheesecake. I've had a bowl of cereal just to try it. And it's like, one, it doesn't taste good to me anymore. It doesn't taste as good as it used to. It's always disappointing, no matter how much it smells good. My wife will make these, cookies or these cupcakes, and she's like, you got to try this. It's so good. And I'll try it. And I'm like, yeah, it's good, but it's not great. Like, and usually I'll just I'll throw half. No. She makes fantastic. She makes fantastic.
Good say.
So, but just to me, it's not what it used to be, right? Because I'm not feeding that. What do they say? The dog you feed is the one that gets stronger, right? So I'm not feeding that dog in me anymore. So that dog is just very, just lazy and doesn't want to do much. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
I'm feeding myself real food, and that's what we're supposed to eat. Right? So the raw thing's a part of it, but it's not a necessary part of it, right? Like, you cook out nutrients when you cook your food, but so it's like, but how much people are thriving on the can still thrive even on all the nonsense we eat. So it's not necessary to be perfect all the time. I've tried it. I went a few months of just eating raw and I felt pretty good, but I didn't feel significantly better than I do when I'm eating cooked sometimes. Right. It's just convenient. And I like to do it because I don't know. I think it's a survival thing, right? If I'm starving in the woods somewhere, I know I can eat raw meat, right? Like, or whatever it is, right? There's situations in which I find that to be beneficial, the ability to do the things that I do.
Hey, so what was that kind of aged raw meat?
Yeah, I knew we were going to go there, right? So again, I like to test things out, right? And the first time I heard about this, I was like, no way in hell, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen, which is called high meat. So high meat is basically like fermented meat. You let it sit for a while. You basically take a jar like this, cut it into cubes, put it in here, and every couple days you air it out, usually outside after the first few days, right? Or first few weeks, whatever. And you just air it out every few days.
First few weeks.
Yeah. And you go for like, people go years. I mean, supposedly the Inuits up in Alaska would, do this for depression, right? They'd ferment their meat, bury it in the ground, kind of like you do kimchi. And then, like just for kind of helping their moods and stuff during like the long winters and stuff, they would eat this. And it smells nasty. And like I said, I didn't think I would ever do it the first time I saw it. But after, again, doing my research on it, I'm like, maybe I'll try it, and I did. And it didn't make me sick. It didn't necessarily make you feel like all euphoric like some people talk about. but maybe I didn't age it long enough. I'm not sure. But the fact that it didn't make me sick at all and I felt fine says a lot, right? Because they tell us not to even defrost meat on the counter anymore. And I do it all the time. I leave my meat out on a regular basis. I leave my milk out on a regular basis. So the other thing with milk, if you left store-bought milk on the shelf or out, on your shelf on accident, like you left it out for a couple hours, you would dump it out because that's bad for you, and you would smell it, and it smells awful. With raw milk, you can literally leave it out, and I have for pretty much forever, and it will never make you sick. And in fact, it might even be better for you because of all the bacteria and all that stuff growing in it. But it gets sour, it gets a little funky. But honestly, sour milk is one of my favorite things right now. Sour milk with a little bit of maple syrup is freaking fantastic. I actually buy extra milk that I'll leave out for longer so that it gets to that sour point, and then mix it with my syrup. And it's like this almost like yogurty sweet. It's so good.
Sounds good.
So good. And it freaks people out because they're like, oh my God, how can you do that? But again, it's a process to get here, to get you. It's not to get the body here. The body can do it from right away, but to get your mind to that place where you're just like, you just understand nature, right? And all this brought me closer to God because, when you look at all the stuff we're being taught, that's nonsense, because this is nonsense. Like this whole being afraid of germs and being afraid of raw meat and all this stuff, and you got to have pasteurized milk. It's just this whole like disconnecting ourselves from nature, disconnecting ourselves from ourselves, relying on, some industry to feed me, vitamins. Oh, you got to have your vitamins. I don't do vitamins anymore. I don't do hardly. I like no products anymore. Like there's 0 products in my life that I can think of offhand, other than occasionally soap when I wash my hands, if my hands are especially dirty, but not when I shower. You know what I mean? Like all that stuff. Like I did that a long time ago. I stopped, deodorant. I don't wear it anymore. And again, I don't smell. And people that have been on tour with me, I remember going on tour, even when I eat kind of crappy. So I guess it's hard to say if it's completely diet related, but I've always tended to eat healthier. But I'd wear the same shirt, Let's Boy Hits Car shirt. I wore my entire tour with Taproot 2 months, never washed it once. And I would have people smell at the end of the tour. Like, tell me what this smells like. And they're like, wow, it actually doesn't smell bad, because when you put garbage in, garbage is going to come out.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? You are what you eat, man.
Yeah, it's pretty, and when I do eat crappier, I do tend to smell a little more, right? So there is a balance there. And so if you just, I don't know, it's a simple idea. Like people go, oh, you're healthy. It's almost like this stupid word now, right? Oh, you eat healthy. You try to eat healthy. It's like, I eat healthy because I want to live a long time and live a good life and get old and be able to wrestle my kids when I'm 80. I still want to be able to do jiu-jitsu and get on the mats when I'm 80, 90, 100 years old, And what breaks us down is eating crappy food,
There's also something to be said about what you just mentioned about being closer to God, like living within God's natural order. It's worth it just for that. You're more in tune, and your intuition can be more honed. And when you live within God's natural order, and I feel like our society today is based on the inversion of God's natural order in every single way, and that's what shuts down people's intuitional ability to just know things. And I mean, takes away common sense altogether. Our society is where it is in a lot of ways because of people being so disconnected.
So we have a couple questions here from our fans watching. So first guy, that Marshall, hit me up on Instagram. I'll send you some stuff, right? If you want to learn more about the primal or the raw diet, right? And then the other one, I think Kiko maybe just asked about, just said she tried carnivore. I think it's a girl. I could be wrong. But if you tried carnivore and it cut out your gas output, there's an adjustment period, right? When you first do it, your body's used to feeding on carbs all the time, right? But as you do it longer, your body adjusts to what you're doing, and then it kind of balances itself out, right? It might take 6 months. It might take a while, but the overall benefit over time is worth it, right? And you look at like Sean Baker. Sean Baker's been doing this since like 2017, I think. And the guy's an animal. He's a beast. He's breaking his own personal records all the time. So if a guy like that, and he's doing it cooked, he's doing it just, normal, like a normal person. And, so to say it cuts your out, that's what people will tell you. And that might get in your head a little bit, and you might feel it a little bit because you're not used to it. But the more you do it, it seems to be just, the overall benefits too. Like, I mean, unless you're like, yeah, it might cut your gas. Maybe it does, maybe that your body style says that. But I mean, unless you're competing at the highest levels, what do you care? You know what I mean? You want to live longer and feel better and have more mental clarity, then do it, So for me, also the part of it, cutting out the carbs and just the nonsense food. And again, not even that carbs are bad. What's funny is when you really get into this stuff, because I used to think gluten was bad for us. I used to think, sugar was bad for us, and you got to watch, all this stuff. And salt, I was always questioning on, like, is salt good or is salt bad? But when it comes down to it, salt's from nature. Sugar's from nature, right? Bread is from nature. What's bad in there is your glyphosate, your chemicals, your pesticides, your preservatives, all the nonsense, all the artificial coloring, all that stuff that's in this, right?
All the inversion of that natural shit.
Yeah. So they're telling us, and so anything the media tells you is there's a lie in there somewhere, right? So they're telling us sugar is bad for us, right? And I was on board, dude, with that. Because I've cut out sugar and I felt great. But at the same time, when you cut out sugar, you also cut out preservatives. You cut out all the stuff I just named. So that's what's making you feel better. Sugar in and of itself isn't necessarily bad for you. Now, again, to find a good source of sugar, that's that may or may not be difficult. I'm not sure. Like the processed white sugar, there's some people that say it's fine for you. Some people that say it's not good for you. Raw honey.
Teeth, maybe that's about it. But it's good for the body. Like do normal doses.
It's hard to say though. I mean, again, it's like when you go to the Hadza tribe, they'll eat all sorts of like raw honey, right? Again, but that's natural, right? That's
honey's better than
natural
sugar.
source,
Honey's
right?
Raw honey is definitely I would not compare that to at all to the sugars of like Captain Crunch cereal or
for sure.
Or a gummy bear, it's
but again, even Captain Crunch cereal and gummy bears, it's not just the sugar though. You're getting it packaged and all this nonsense.
Right.
So my point is not so much like I'm not saying sugar is or is not good for you. I think it's necessary because even when you eat like carnivore, your body will convert through gluconeogenesis. All the protein it turns it into sugar glycogen because that is energy, right? Sugar is energy. So is fat, right? So these are things that are necessary for the body. Potassium, sodium, magnesium. These are things that we need in our bodies. But most of these things our body can convert anyway, right? We have this great alchemy in our body for almost everything as long as you feed yourself the right things, and it seems to be meat.
So I feel like D3 magnesium supplements sometimes our crops don't have a lot of that in there. Like they don't have a lot of magnesium stuff like. And that's not the only supplements I'll probably take.
Yeah, and I mean supplements can be good for you if you're eating a certain way that doesn't give you the stuff that you can get or get naturally, right?
I think I'm almost on the carnivore diet. Just sounded like just sides are boring and taste like shit, Right. I was like, 2 burgers instead of no sides. I'm always just like, I'm naturally drawn towards it. I think so. I eat similar, but I do both. I wish I was as strict as you, and I'd probably pick your brain later on that. That's cool. Like I think I need to get to that level. I need to get to to be honest, I need to get to that level. I eat maybe 3/4 healthy though, ish.
Yeah, it takes time, man. I mean, it was a struggle for me for years, And
I don't want human milk. I want to only drink human milk now.
Cambodian,
American.
Yeah. So it just took me a point to where I just understood pretty much everything from the grocery store is nonsense. I might get some fruit there, here, and there. I'm not pure carnivore. I'm not pure carnivore by any means. Yeah. But I have done it, and I liked it, and I'm keep wanting to go back. But the milk, I don't know. There's an argument: is milk carnivore? So milk, I guess, is carnivore, but it doesn't really put you in ketosis because it's got lactose, right, which is a sugar, right? So I like
keto then, I guess.
Well, I'm not keto. That's the thing. I'm not keto because of the milk. Yeah, because of the milk and the syrup. I do. And syrup, there's an argument. Syrup's not necessarily natural because they do process it to make it.
What kind of syrup?
Just maple syrup, pure maple syrup.
Okay, yeah, it's fake, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, well, not the nonsense syrup, but it's slightly better, right? It's
Caro's probably real. That Caro syrup probably real.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's so many ways, but again, it's not about perfection. It's about more. I mean, if I tell anybody anything, it's just start cutting out the nonsense. You know what I mean? As much nonsense as you can. Yeah, the boxes of stuff.
And work out. I mean, really, if you could be honest, if you're like young, you can honestly eat like trash if you work out still. You know what I mean? But like, I think like as you get older, it's probably more important. You know what I mean? Like as you I'm in my 30s now, I'm like 20s, you know, but I'm saying.
So that's a funny thing that people do, right? What you just did. Like when you're young, you can do these things, and when you're old, you got to start taking care of yourself. Like at what age is that?
When you get scared, you know, I'm like, oh man, I want to be 50, bro. I'm like in my late 30s, but man, I hope I'm 50 something, you know. So I drink more water and shit. I don't know.
So like I've asked I ask people this too. Like at what age do you need coffee?
Oh God, when you hit the workforce, probably.
Right, but and people think they need coffee, right? Because it's such a deep part of our culture.
I don't drink caffeine. I don't drink that stuff.
Well, it's not. You know, we're not putting you on the stand. You know, this is just a question for kind of everybody.
That's funny.
Right, and so most people think coffee is like an absolute necessity. Like when I talk about health and I go into all this stuff, and people are like on board, and then I talk about cutting out coffee, and they're like, "How dare you tell me I can't drink my coffee?" And you can do whatever you want, right? But these are just suggestions. But again, for me, somebody is profiting off of all this stuff. You know what I mean? Somebody is profiting off you with everything you buy, whether you're
coffee slave made. I mean, they I mean, you could Google Starbucks Brazil slavery. I mean, and it'll show up like all this stuff, like pretty much all that stuff slave made. They're like, fucking do it, you know. And all these guys are like, okay, whatever. You know, it's like that's pretty much how all coffee's made. And then you like go to Starbucks and you like have to guess like the gender and which kind of gay they are. You know, that's how I feel like Starbucks. I'm like, was that a lesbian or just a gay dude? I don't know. Anyway, thanks. You know, I don't know what to call them, but I'm just like, I don't know which one. I never know which one it is. You know, but that's coffee to me. I'm like, now I wait in line forever to talk to a lesbian that hates me. I'm like, no, it's like, that's what coffee seems like, man. I smoke way more weed, you know.
So again, as I tell you, like the media will tell you all sorts of stuff, and again, part of the media's job is to get you hooked on all this stuff and make you think it's good for you, right? Coffee is one of those things that it's $1 billion industry, right? And people drink coffee all the time, right? So, you know, and I look at it as like, you ain't profiting off me if I can help it. You know, I don't want that anymore, right? I was a slave to the system for far too long, and I'm still a slave to a degree. But I want to separate myself as much as I can.
Did you drink Surge when you were popping off? Because that was a big drink like in the 90s. Like,
Sir, I've drank all the nonsense, dude. I mean, Mountain Dews all the time, dude.
Because you're like you guys are like blowing up and Surge was big. I just didn't know if you guys were like drinking Surge.
Yeah, Surge, Jolt soda, all that nonsense, man.
Poison, yeah. Like my parents just bought that shit. I just drink like a case. I was like a fat kid with a bulk. I just drink cases of that shit. You know, I was just like dumb, you know.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I worked at a convenience store, dude. I had so much. I basically. Sorry, but free access to my previous employers. But yeah, free access to sodas, free access to whatever drinks, and they'd get new drinks in, and I'd try them out. And I was drinking Mountain Dews all the time, all the time, and all that stuff it's just so bad for you, you know.
I just drink water. I'll drink a soda like a treat every once in a while, but I mostly drink water or like alcohol. Like, I mean, if I drink alcohol, it's not beer; it's like tequila, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like our parents' generation didn't even question any of these food products that were introduced during their lifetimes, and they didn't even question these food products when giving them to us as children. They just thought, oh, they're selling them to us, they must be totally fine. And so I feel like we grew up like eating fucking McDonald's and drinking soda and you know, and it's really been our generation that's you know, at a certain point in time started questioning like, this shit can't be good for you. What the fuck's in it? What's that do? You know, following the trail of information and it's just crazy to me when I think back to my childhood and what my parents and grandparents were just giving me as a kid, you know?
Yeah.
Dude, same. My mom's like sickening
chocolate milk and gummy bears like fucking on tap, you know?
Dude, my mom's like sick, like really scrawny from like being sick, and eats like Cheetos and Oreos, and it's like, what the fuck? It's always like, I just want to like be like, are you fucking kidding me? You know, it's like, if I was in that situation, I'd just be only like just consuming like protein and water, whatever the fuck it's like, and she's way further now, but like, there's a time I just want to shake that little lady, like, what are you doing? Like, Oreos isn't a food group.
Right. When you look at our culture, I just switched. Can you guys still hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you look at our culture, and just like the path we're on, people are just more and more sick, right? We're supposed to be the best country in the world, right? We have all this access to healthcare and information and all this stuff that's supposed to be good for us, and yet we're getting sicker and sicker. You know, heart disease is up, cancer, diabetes, and then so another big moment for me was when I looked at like the top cause of disease, death, mortality in the States, and it's, again, it's like diabetes, heart disease, cancer, right? And then you look at some of these tribal societies that have no access to any of our stuff, not our healthcare, but also not our food, and they don't have any of this stuff, right? They don't have cancer, right? Which we're kind of taught as like human condition. It's just part of being a human. It's just a mistake from the body. It's just what it does, right? No heart disease, no diabetes, no depression, no anxiety, right? They just live their lives, right? And that's part of it, right? So that's okay. They're out in the bush. They're living out in nature. So okay, I can understand that. But then you go back 100 years from ago to like the early 1910, late 1800s, and heart disease wasn't even in the top 10. I mean, same thing with cancer.
Yeah. People got really weird shit back then, like really weird shit.
Like they were dying of like tuberculosis and stuff. They were dying from things like that because basically the way the world was, they were just feeding us even more nonsense back then, right? Even more, to be honest, even more nonsense was in our food and in our everything, right? Spraying DDT in the air, right? Like all this stuff, our crops, just while people were just out there in the fields, right? Just spraying DDT on there, like, oh yeah, it's fine, So you just go through, and it's the same story, just different, right? So now they tell us it's just a natural human disorder, right? We just get heart disease, you just get cancer. And then you look at maybe what we're doing to ourselves is what's causing cancer and what's causing heart disease, and it's sad because people just look at it as like, oh, I got cancer, now I better go to the same people that made me sick and tell them to try to heal me.
Pay them hundreds of thousands of dollars to poison me.
Yeah.
Dude, no, I can't believe people don't see that. I can't believe people don't see that. I have no idea how people don't see that. Like you guys are like the only people. Like, it's very rare that people see this. Like, that I talk to. Like, it's like weird. I'm like, how the fuck? They have like demon statues outside. What the fuck? It was like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, they have serpents everywhere and like fucking like, and I don't know. And like modern medicine's like sorcery. It's just, that's all it is. It's just sorcery.
Well, and it was all built by fucking Rockefellers. So you gotta trust that system.
Yeah, they're completely hijacked by the medical, by the Rockefellers, right? Like
right.
Like, you're looking at history, and it's just crazy, And then you try to speak to this to like normal people, and you say it, and they're like, "Oh, that you're crazy," and they're like, even bring up like fluoride. Fluoride's bad for you. What? No, it's not. It's good for your teeth.
Yeah, I don't use fluoride on my toothpaste.
And you look into it, and it's like, you really look into it, not just the most apparent stuff they'll say to you, and which is, it's good for you, it's good for your teeth, and here's why we know. We added it in 1953, whatever it was. It's like, no, if I don't remember exactly what it is, it's some byproduct of
nuclear waste. It's nuclear waste.
It's a waste, a chemical waste byproduct for sure.
Yeah,
it's illegal to take fluoride and just dump it on the ground.
Yeah, right.
But yet, no, you can put it in the drinking water and in toothpaste, though. That's fine.
It's a hazardous waste,
right?
That is expensive to get rid of on its own, so they just feed it to us instead.
So they sell it. They sell it back to us to consume.
Yeah,
and
it's easy to go, no, it's not. But then look on your toothpaste, everyone that's listening. Look on your toothpaste bottle that has fluoride in it, and there's a little warning on there that says anything more than a normal amount of if more than a normal amount used to brush your teeth is swallowed, call poison control.
Right, and it's like a pea size. A pea size dab of toothpaste. If you swallow that, you're supposed to call poison control. But just keep brushing your teeth with it.
Yeah, and let's make it taste like candy so the kids eat it, like I did when I was a kid. I used to eat all sorts of toothpaste.
It tastes good. I use this chili mouth toothpaste that has no fluoride in it. Like they were like a sponsor at one point, and they sponsored a couple episodes of me. But I liked it. I liked that he didn't have fluoride, and I'm like, what the fuck? Doesn't have fluoride? And he's like, yeah, I made it a point to not do that. I'm like, okay, well, that's what I've been using lately. That and my wife's not big on that too. But I'm still, it's in our water supply. It's in a plastic. I mean, it's in so much stuff. I'm still getting it probably.
Yeah, that's why I don't drink water.
I'm not rubbing on my gums with tongue though,
Yeah. Another little tidbit for everyone is I haven't drank water in, I think, almost 2 years.
You haven't drank water in 2 years? How the fuck do you? What do you drink? Just milk or what?
Pretty much just milk, yeah.
Don't you drink some kombucha or juice here?
I drink kombucha every once in a while and coconut water every once in a while, but it's not that often. It's most of my hydration. So again, also part of the I don't recommend it for everybody because I don't know what it would do to the average person that's eating all the nonsense in this world. But eating raw food is hydrating, right? There's a lot of moisture in there. Eating my raw butter and eating my raw eggs and drinking my raw milk.
Do you make your own butter too?
I don't make it. I get it from the Amish.
Okay, gotcha. Yo,
that's everything I eat is pretty much hydrating me.
It makes sense. I mean, that's just interesting though. It's like, yeah, man, that would terrify me not to drink water. But I guess if you do it for 2 years, it's working. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, I do jiu-jitsu on a regular basis, and I don't drink water during class. I don't drink water right after class. I wait till I get home, and I just have some milk and like some meat. I've actually done it. I did a 3-day.
You just come home fucking sweating and parched, and you're just like, oh, milk and meat.
Yeah. What's funny is I'm not thirsty.
Right.
Like it's almost like it's a habit that they want you. Like, who tells us we need so much water? They do, right? We've been told this all our lives. Like, you got to drink eight cups of water a day or whatever it is, right? And people drink up to a gallon of water a day, right? And you're told to drink more and more. Why? Because it's poison, dude.
What percentage of your groceries are from the Amish?
Pretty much all of it. Amish or a farm.
That's smart.
Yeah, I eat venison. My brother-in-law gets me some deer every year, and I'll get he actually gets me some fish as well. He goes out fishing on the sea somewhere.
I thought, dude, that's smart, man. You probably, I mean, you look healthier than both of us. I mean, it's working probably, so it's like.
I'm 74 years old.
74. You are old as fuck for how young you are. How old are you again?
I'm 46.
Yeah, you do not look 46. You look like you're 15 or some shit, man. That's crazy, man. I look older than you. I look like a fucking old ass dude already. It's crazy.
There's something to it, man. I mean, it's not so much about how I look. I mean, I'm appreciative. I'm grateful that I still look younger, but it's more about how I feel, dude.
No, that's important, and that's your longevity and stuff. I mean, because if you do case slower, I don't think anyone can really live past 120 in this current cycle. I think they have, but I don't think. I think they have in current. I mean.
Well, that's I'm shooting for 120 at least.
I think that's what we're seeing right now. I think that's record. I mean, that's what we're seeing in this current cycle. I think we have so much pollution, thin air, bullshit, whatever else, But I think Methuselah was 800 years old. And I believe a lot of that shit. So I think at one point we're allowed to live longer. But I think we're in some evil cycle. I think we're in the natives call it Kali Yugas, their cycles, and we call it the end of the fucking world. But I think that's kind of what it seems like in Revelation. It seems like Revelation's in Kali Yuga. Not to get too fucking on that, but it feels like that. It feels like we're in a time of reckless evil. That's what it feels like.
It does seem that way, doesn't it?
Yeah.
There's no denying it, dude. Half my songs that I've released in the last few years have all been about this being the end times. I mean, it's fucking. It feels like it.
It feels like it. And a lot of the things are lining up a little too conveniently. A lot of the Revelations verses. I'm like, as a kid, I'm like, man, would it be cool to live through Revelations? As an adult, I'm like, I don't know if I want to. I don't know. I don't know, man. I hope I get beheaded for being a Christian in the beginning.
So so at the same time, though, you have this awakening of people like me and people like you guys that are starting to see that there's, we don't have to live in what, unfortunately, the whole idea of this is the Matrix is kind of becoming kind of cliche at this point, right? But it does seem to be like the Matrix, right? We are just feeding the system. That's all we do, and it's from a young age, all the BS food, the birthdays and every event. Try to have a birthday party, Sean, for your daughter. Try to have a birthday party without cake there, right?
Yeah.
You'll be lynched. Try to have any major event without cake or some sort of nonsense, right? It's part of
they create holidays just to fucking shove sugar and processed shit down our kids' throats. There's so many of them. You can't even fucking.
And everyone gets sick in the wintertime, and we blame it on the cold, which doesn't really make sense. I mean, what makes more sense is, well, I don't know, Halloween, Thanksgiving, and Christmas,
right?
All in a row, right?
Shoveling candies, cakes, and pies down your gullet for fucking.
That's a great point. I've never linked that. That's a great point.
Yeah, and it's constant. I mean, it's more and more months that you just have more and more nonsense to give us, right? And so it's not just the, it's not just the food though. It's everything we consume, right? It's the TV, the Netflix. You know what I mean? It's the Instagrams, it's the pornography, right? Pornography is one of the most insidious things that we deal with as men, and seems to be women too these days, right? Like both are, I think men more so, to be honest. It just seems that way, right?
Well, men are visually stimulated. Women read books and stuff. They like words. Women like words and shit. And dudes are just like titties, like that's like we're back visually. It's like we're just different creatures.
But it affects the way we think about women. It affects the way we deal with women. It affects the way we have sex with women. And so it's like,
well, programs you have. I mean, like your parents didn't teach you porn update. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, that's how I feel. My parents never even brought it up one time, which is probably good, I guess. But at the same time, it's like, but I feel like it's like porn. I mean, that was everything. Like when you're 20, you it made me a fucking asshole. I feel like this culture made me an asshole. It made me think you needed a blonde girl and a brown-haired girl, and being like, oh, I need 2 to 5 girlfriends at the same time. It makes you like a fucking like evil piece of shit, and like just ruining people. I mean, that's how I feel. I feel like such an evil piece of shit in my 20s just for my fall for that marketing. You know what I mean?
I hear you exactly. And what it does is it makes sex a very physical thing, right? It's just physical. There's no spiritual, there's no emotional connection. It's just, what can I get this girl to do, or what can I do to this girl, and how are we going to do it? And it's just it's looking back, and that's how I used to live my life, and it's like
sad, right? It's like sad looking back when you grow up. It's sad. You're like, what the fuck? I've been married for. I moved with my wife for like 8 years, but I'm married for like 2 years. I totally do it differently. That's great. Like just the last like 8 years. I mean, before that I was just a fucking idiot.
I've been a consumer of porn pretty much since a very, very young age, probably like 7 or 8 years old. From Playboy magazines and then later movies and all that stuff. And I just thought, what do they say? Men think about sex every 5 seconds or some nonsense, right? And of course we do when we're surrounded by it, and it's on all the not even just sex, but just sexual content on everything, right? And as I've separated myself from it as best I can in this world, it's like my mind has just changed so much. It's absolutely nuts how much I don't think about sex,
Well, we're older too, so we have more important values. Like when you're 20, it's all you care about. I mean, I just wanted to fucking get fucked up and chase.
Again, that's what we think, because when we were young, we were surrounded by sex, and as we're older, I'd be curious. I mean, I'm not saying we're not more sexually active younger, but maybe not, right? Like,
well, it was more people. I feel like, but not like, yeah, you're right. I probably
because right. I mean, when you were younger, you were watching porn all the time, just like me and just like every other young male.
Right? On the same way, yeah. We all Americans grow up.
And then you're told to go out and have sex all the time, right? Like you're told to try to have sex and all this stuff. Well, wait for marriage, but also have sex, right? Like,
and don't get married was big. I mean, I was like, my generation, like having kids and getting married seems like a bad thing when I was young. You know what I mean? Like your friends that had a kid younger, like, oh shit, oh man, you didn't want to do that. It's like you wouldn't have any money, you wouldn't have any fun. That's the way it was presented,
Yeah.
I mean, but I see it now kind of differently. I think I'm probably have kids at some point. Just the way I see the world now. It's like, I mean, I'll probably be having them old, but versus like people of my age usually having kids younger. I think a lot of my friends did.
Yeah, and porn has always been one of the biggest industries, right? And so, you know what I mean? Like they've been the front runner when it came to VHS and then DVDs and all that stuff. They drove those industries. And then the internet, porn on the internet, like that's like huge, right? And now what's crazy when you really think about it is like porn on the internet's free now, right? Pornhub is free. All this stuff is free, even since COVID, right? Pornhub became if I remember right, became completely free.
It's about to monetize with OnlyFans. I think it is to a degree with OnlyFans. I think we're getting to the beginning of the monetization of porn again. But there was a dead period from 98 to I'd argue still how music was with Napster and how film was with Netflix.
Right.
And, porn became free with Pornhub. So but they're just now making a lot of those people are. I mean, I don't want to say that. Never mind. I think a lot of those people are probably prostitutes. I'm not going to.
But here's the thing, though. Like, so whether it's free or whether it's OnlyFans, the cost is your soul, man. When it really comes down to it.
That's why I don't do it. Yes.
You know what I mean? The cost is is something, you know what I mean? Something about you is being, they're taking something from you, right? And once you understand the agenda, they want us separated. They want us not to be close family, you know, close with our families, close with, you know, like marriage,
they want the family unit destroyed.
Exactly.
And they've done it. I mean, they've basically fucking done it. I mean, we have to rebuild, and it's like, it's great. I mean, you hit on a lot, and like I have to thank a lot of porn stars for the show being like watched and listened and stuff. Because like in the early days, I had a lot of porn stars on, and they had big fan bases. So, I mean, I appreciate like a lot of it. Like, so I'm like conflicted when I think about it. That because I promote it kind of in a way where I have porn stars on, and people have a lot of problems. People will tell me they have problems with it.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm Christian. I feel like I shouldn't just judge somebody. You know what I mean? I feel like I should not talk to somebody because they're in a field I disagree with. I feel like I'm beyond that. I think as a person, and we all to where like I could disagree completely with your guys' beliefs and we can still be friends. You know, I think. I mean, that's just this conversation. But I'm saying like I don't know. I feel like I have a lot to thank porn stars for. I mean, I was invited to AVNs like last 5 years in a row. XBiz, I'd never go, but I mean, I was invited. I mean, I had press passes, all that stuff. I mean, so it's like. Been big for like the podcast industry, to be honest. But then, like, I get it. I know there's a lot of sex trafficking wrapped up in, a lot of prostitution wrapped up in, a lot of things I don't agree with. I mean, even the consumption porn, I don't partake, but I'm a little bit different. I'm not preaching where I judge people. You know, I feel like I don't want to tell people.
So I look at it like this: I hate the industry, but don't hate the individual people that are participating in it because they're as much of victims as us that had to watch that watched it. And I had to watch it, chose to watch it, you know. But but this is the society we're in, right? People that smoke, right? They wouldn't smoke without all the advertising and all the cool people on movies smoking and all this stuff, all the drinking. Like now that I don't drink anymore, like I watch movies and it's like every time there's a celebration, people are drinking. Every time someone's sad, they're drinking. Every time there's, you know, anything going on, it's like, oh, let's go get a drink. Right. And that's programming. That's programming all of us.
Dude, everything is programming.
Yeah.
Our masters have been carefully constructing this reality for a long time, you know, and you know, it's again going back to the inversion of God's natural order in every one of these like subject matters. They've really flipped every single aspect of life on its head at this point. You know, it's like we just live these fucking crazy lives that are so far removed from just the average guy living in the mountains like a couple 100 years ago, you know.
Yeah.
And we have it good, you know what I mean? Like we're like the pampered circus bears of like this culture, you know. I mean, we have it fucking good compared to any other time in the world. I remember complaining to my wife about Hawaii, and I was like thinking, and I was like, after I complained about going to Hawaii, I was like, I just complained about something that could have never happened generations before, like how fast you got there, everything, you know. It's like. I still complain about it. I couldn't imagine like just being like from the 1800s or even worse, you know.
Well, that's what they want you to believe is that we've had the best time ever, right? But we're just in the biggest zoo and the safest zoo we've ever been in, right? But
I like it though. And I agree with you still. But I like it.
And not saying there's not great things about this, right? There's some great things, but unfortunately, a lot of this has been twisted, and we're being preyed upon. You know what I mean? We're being preyed upon by the big industries that want to just make us. Again, just you know, feeding the system instead of living our own lives and having good lives. Like we could have good lives. This whole place could be wonderful, you know. But
dude,
they don't.
Dude, I just recently got a text message from my mom, and it was a picture of my great grandfather and his family standing in front of their little shack house in the mountains of Virginia in the 1800s. And it is so fucking cool. And it is like I would trade my life to live that life any fucking day of the week, dude. To just
probably already did.
What?
You probably already did. We probably have multiple wives here, you know. I mean, I think that, you know.
You never know.
So yeah, kind of like we have convenience, right? We have safety, right? But the cost of all this stuff that we have seems to be meaning, right? Like we don't have meaning. We don't have real things to do in life anymore. You know, like I work a job. I don't love my job. I love that my job supports my family, but my job is a bunch of nonsense. You know what I mean? It's not saving anybody's lives. It's not changing anybody's lives.
Your boss is like watching this. He's like,
So it's like, you know, we should be doing things like in a small community that help each other out, right? We go hunting, we bring back food for our friends and family, right? We build up a dam, or we reroute the water, or we do whatever, you know, build a house for somebody. These are meaningful things that connect us and make us closer to each other. You know what I mean? Sharing Instagram reels is not meaningful. You know what I mean? That doesn't really do anything.
It doesn't satisfy your soul, you know, in any way, shape, or form. If anything, it leaves you longing for more. You know, it's a dopamine hit at the moment, but it's truly meaningless.
Yeah.
I mean, I was fortunate enough that when I was 7, I was from California, but my mom married my stepdad, who was from Maine, and we moved to the middle of the woods in Maine and lived in a summer camp that was like a shack that was only meant to be lived in for like a couple days at a time during the summer. But we had nowhere else to go, so we lived there for years. And you know, we had no running water, no bathroom, no shower. You know, it was just a little 1-bedroom little shack. No heat, no cooling. You know, we had a stove that we could just cut down trees, chop wood, and build a fire to keep us warm in the winter. And I used to resent those days when I was younger. You know, like how could my mom move us out to this situation? You know, and the older I got, the more I look back at those years with appreciation. And man, I just living like that, like just the simple day-to-day life of surviving without these modern distractions is so much more satisfying. I would trade it. I would trade it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. It sounds wonderful. But I've never experienced anything like that. You know, not to that level, right? Like I dream of that. You know, I would love to be able to do something like that. And also at the same time, though, it scares the crap out of me because that sounds hard as shit. You know what I mean? It sounds difficult. And can I survive in that? I don't know. You know what I mean? Right. There's aspects of me that just really get excited about the prospect of just shedding all this nonsense that we do in this world. Like most of my day, you know, how many hours of screen time was I on the screen today? You know what I mean? Like 4 or 5 hours some days. And I'm like, you know, and that's low. I try to limit my screen time and I hit 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
You know, I've been up to like 9 or 10 hours. And I'm like, dude, that's a 24-hour day. And that's, you know, me sleeping 8. Right. So out of 16 hours, I'm on my screen for 10 hours that day. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You know?
True. So we're just drifting. We're drifting further and further away from that real life, that natural life that we were meant to live, you know, and I don't know where we're headed, but it's not in a good place. It's not in a good direction.
Yeah. And again, just go back to the idea that they just want us thinking that we need all this stuff that they provide us, right? From the medical industry. You're talking about my health insurance earlier. I don't use anything of my health insurance, right? Other than maybe my dental, right? I go get my teeth cleaned twice a year, right? That's the only thing I go for.
I mean, I'm sure you'd use catastrophic if you like snapped your leg in half. But that's, I mean, for me, that's how I live my life too. I'm not, you know, when I broke my leg, I went and they did surgery, but that's about it, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and again, I was just talking to a buddy of mine today who had smashed his fingers, right, at work like years and years ago, and he had to get surgery and all that stuff. And I'm not saying our medical industry is, you know, bad, right? There are aspects of it that are corrupted, right? But the stuff they can do if you're in an accident is amazing, right? Some of the stuff they do is amazing, but things like cancer that they're not really trying to cure,
right?
You know, it's like that's where it gets a bit shady, right? Where it's more about the business of cancer than it is of cancer itself, you know, of trying to cure cancer. Like how much money have we raised to try to cure cancer, and they haven't changed the cure since like the 70s?
Well, and how many cures are there that get totally buried? You know, there are cures for cancer, be it like weird sound therapy or fucking bee venom or fucking Rick Simpson oil. There's so many different supposed cures that have cured many people. If they really actually were going for it and researching these things, I'm sure they'd be able to figure it all out. But I mean, they're creating the products that cause the cancer purposefully to cause the cancer. to then poison you further and charge you all the fucking money you have left in your life to do so, and then you die.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point, you know.
Yeah, have you seen that document? I think I might have sent it to you. That Brzezinski, Business is a Serious Business, or Cancer is a Serious Brzezinski, Cancer is a Serious Business.
I don't think I saw it.
Oh, dude, it's enlightening, man. I'm just basically, this guy in Houston's been curing cancer since like the 80s, and they won't let him. He's gone. They've sued him multiple times. They've taken him to congressional hearings and stuff, and none of it is about the efficacy of what he's doing.
Right.
It's all about he hasn't followed the plan properly, right? He hasn't gotten approval for all this stuff properly, because the approval process is a bunch of nonsense. And you see
it's designed to destroy real potential cures. I mean,
yeah. And this movie lays it all out, right? And it's all there for people to see, and it's just like, it just makes you sick to your stomach though, because there's kids that can't get the approval they needed to have this guy cure their cancer because of all the little roadblocks or whatever you want to say that could get put in the way.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
It's a crazy world. On that note, I should probably get going.
Watch his image show. Yeah, we go talk for 2 hours. Like good guests. I mean, it's interesting stories and stuff. Like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like I think last time we talked. Well, we talked on the phone for a short period of time just recently because I had to go to play a show. But before that, I think we talked on the phone for like 3 hours or some shit.
Yeah. So Rogan, before we go, I do want to mention one thing. I feel, because this is one of the biggest things I've learned during all this nonsense we learned with the pandemic and whatnot, right? So we're told germs will make us sick, right? And this again makes us scared of each other and destroys our communities, right? Like, oh, you're sick, get away from me. I don't want to be near you when you're sick, right? Instead of taking care of the people that are sick, right? You're supposed to stay away from people. So what's the flip side of that, right? Again, with their stories, they always give you the main story. And then the flip side is supposed to be nonsense, right? Like, it sounds like nonsense, which is spirits will make you sick, right? We used to think spirits made you sick, right? So those are two stories that we've got. It's either germs or it's spirits, and that's what you're given, right? And you go, yeah, germs sounds right? Germs make you sick. Spirits clearly don't make you sick, and we know that's true, right? Or at least we think that's true. So I'll give you this: like, what's more likely to make you sick, right? These germs that I just described earlier, where I eat whatever. I eat bacteria, I eat whatever. I'm actually around sick people. I make them cough in my face, and I don't get sick, right? And it's not just because I eat healthy, right? This is when I've had little sleep and all this stuff. I've tested this theory. Like I said, I test things, and this whole idea that germs make you sick is kind of nonsense. So what does make us sick is what they say. They say it's like either too little of something, too much of something, or trauma. So too little of something would be, I don't have enough vitamin A. I don't have enough iron. I have an iron deficiency. I have something like that, right? A deficiency in your food. And then too much of something would be too much fluoride, too much, preservatives,
glyphosate,
right? Glyphosate, all that stuff. Too much of these things will make you sick. And so what does the body do to try to take care of itself, right? When you have a deficiency, it will give you signs of this deficiency so you can try to right it, right? But the real key part is when you're eating too much of the nonsense, what does your body do, right? What are the symptoms of being sick, right? Sneezing, coughing, puking, sweating, right? All these things are things getting out of you. Diarrhea, you know what I mean? It's getting things out of you.
Flushing toxins.
Yeah.
What's that?
Flushing toxins.
Flushing toxins, exactly. It's a true, like, we're constantly detoxifying ourselves all the time, right? And what is mucus, right? Mucus is this convenient little packet that it'll grab this stuff and help it get rid of it, right? When you get sick and you have all this mucus, your body is grabbing all that stuff and getting it out of you, right? That's a theory, and that seems to hold a lot more water than this germ theory, right? And so that's one of the things that I've been exploring, and really seems to be true, because I've been trying to get sick many a times, all through COVID and after COVID. And not that I haven't been sick at all, because again, being sick is a healing process, right? It's completely flipped the way I think of it. When I'm sick, I embrace it. I don't take medicine in order to suppress my symptoms. I want these symptoms. I want to be sneezing. I'm happy when I sneeze. I'm happy when I'm coughing. If I get a fever and I'm sweating, all that stuff, that is good for us, right? So what I tell, what I would like people to take away from this part is embrace yourself being sick. Be happy with it. The only reason why we take symptom reducing medicine is because we have to go to work, right? That's the only reason why you really have to do it. It's like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, because we're stuck in this stupid world where we have to do these things, right? But if you can, stay off the medicine. That's what keeps this stuff inside you, right? And I was thinking about this the other day because someone had congestion, right? And they were taking that mucus reducing whatever, right? So so think about the mucus thing. You have this mucus that it's kept all this toxins in it, and you take this medicine to reduce it. Now that toxin's just going right back in your system. Right. And so this is a long subject. It's something I think about all the time, but people are trying to say bye, and I know you to get to bed, but I just plant a little seed, right? Look into this, right? Like, what really makes you sick? Is it the germs, or is it all the nonsense in our food and in our environment, the pollution, everything around us, right?
I think you when you look into all of these different subject matters enough, you start to realize that the overall picture that's painted for us by our masters is complete bullshit. So you have to question every single fucking aspect of everything you grew up knowing to be true.
Yeah.
You really got to find your own way, because trusting the institutional things that we've all been taught is none of it's true.
Pretty much. So real quick, the last piece of this is people will always ask, well, I got sick at the same time as my wife. I got sick at the same time as this person. This person got me sick, right? So that happens many times in our lives, right? Your life, my life, Anthony's life. But how many times did that not happen?
Right. True.
Right? Just as many times it didn't happen as it did happen. So then is that the whole story there? So
True.
Look into it. Just dig into it and start questioning all this nonsense. The 15-year-old man is pretty funny. On that note, dude. That's the perfect ending. We'll end there.
Hey.
Good talk, guys.
Yeah. We'll have you back on again, Phil. Good to get on you on. Good seeing you, Sean. Glad you're back on. So, again, God bless you all for watching, man. Thank you. All your dreams come true. And fucking thanks for listening to us talk about ourselves.
Yeah, man. Good times, brother.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure, both of you guys. See you soon.
All right.